got baby face, me big boss man. Me like America, me got good plan. Mexico water make Gulf US obey. Me make Zelensky say thanks to my face. Me got baby face, me got big cheer. Trump bad, Trump good, me no care. Me write big book, kill billies and stuff. Now me important, wear tie up tough. Me go Yale school, me learn big word. Now me forget everything me heard. Silicon people give me job, me take. Now me like Trump, me make no mistake. Yo, it's JD Advance. Me fight walk folk, me say never die. Me protect kids, me born liberal. Him, them, there. America simple, only two gender. Me face, me big boss man. Me like America, me got good plan. Mexico water make Gulf US obey. Me make Zelensky say thanks to my face. So many gender for my agenda. Went on a bender, execo defender. Might take Panama just like na. Might take Gaza, pop then a plaza. With this my majesty.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome into CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy Prime, Mage IDOT of Unit 199. Happy to see all of you here on a Wednesday. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Holy shit. I mean, just when I think I'm caught up on everything, 5,000 more stories drop, and I truly don't even know where to start. There is so much going on. My goodness, every single second of the day, there's some new outrage. People are melting down. The world is falling. MAGA is dead. Trump has been compromised. It's completely over. And I'll be here to bring a level-headed approach to all of this because everybody is freaking the fuck out right now. Most of them are not actual MAGA supporters. Most of them are a bunch of libertarians that you get one opinion and they start screeching and crying and the world is ending because a person had a different opinion than me. That's essentially where we are. Now, again, there's valid criticisms. I'm going to have some criticisms of President Trump. I've got more than I already had. But my God, like the amount of melting down because he said one thing that you don't like. Oh, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. It's insane. Panicans and IDOTs. Not IDOTs. We're the IDOTs. But they are the Panicans. The Panican meme, once again, proven to be accurate. But first things first, you guys see it. Brand new merch. Right there, the holiday merch bundle. That sexy-ass 199 hoodie. Listen, I'm pretty sure the ladies are going to love that 199 hoodie. I'm pretty sure if you're rocking that 199 hoodie, bros. You're going to be good, okay? Also, we have the Unit 199 Cultural Task Force t-shirt. Now, again, I'm a man of the people. I have had a long-standing belief that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, but when my team brought me this idea, hey, let's do an IDOT Die Hard design for Christmas. I'm like, it's not a fucking Christmas movie. We're not doing it. And they're like, Jeremy, most people believe it's a Christmas movie. And I'm like, well, most people are wrong. So me, in my infinite wisdom, said, if we sell 500 t-shirts, I will declare Die Hard a Christmas movie for the end of time. Okay? Those are the rules. I didn't make it up, but I got to follow them. Okay? So if you truly believe in this, fight for Die Hard being a Christmas movie, you got to buy the t-shirt, okay? You also have the IDOT hat as well. So anyway, in the pinned post. Go ahead and check that out. They're only available till November 25th, so we can get these shipped out to you before Christmas. Okay. So anyway, Raph, let's see. Raph says you literally did make that up. Listen, man, there's no need to get into the details. Okay. There's no need to get into the details. Okay. I'm just telling you, I have to follow the rules. Okay. You don't have to get into the details and specifics. This is the internet. We don't need context on the internet. We don't need context. So anyway, here we go. Let's see if we can, first of all, hello, everyone. Good to see you back at home base for now. Home base will be changing very soon. But Zihoni says, the recent Trump interview is a disaster, but I hope peeps remember that net migration is a negative and the border is closed. Stop with the dooming. I don't disagree. Like, I don't disagree with you. And then he says, the whole Epstein is giving me fatigue. I agree, release everything, but Trump is 100% right. It is becoming an anti-Trump hoax. I agree with everything you said again. And then one more. I hope people remember that the border is closed and you probably sent that one twice. So anyway, check your bank account if you didn't want to send that one. Fantastic Vision says, freaking panicins. Little Jim Salo says, don't be a panicking. Dems trying to divide us. Just keep a level head. Okay. Listen, the fact that CobraCast 199 is going to be your level-headed take to keep you away from the insanity, that's not a compliment to me. Okay. That's just to show you how bad everything else is. It's terrible out there. If I'm the voice of reason, we're fucked. So anyway, when does the old merch ship? Should be any, like, I can actually get on that right now. Actually, Jessica, if you can hit up Tommy and tell him to get that answer for me so I don't have to bog down the show. So it should be like immediately, like they should be shipping that stuff out immediately. But we'll get that answer for you. MAGA Cracker Mike says TDS is off the charts today. Dude, it is crazy. It really is. Thank you, Jessica. Soundwave Superior says new channel fund tax for what Beardo said today. Man, everybody thinks, listen, Beardo's good. Mike is good. All right. If it was that serious, I would have handled it behind the scenes. It's not that serious. So it needed to be said. Now we move on. Simple as that. It's been a long year for $1. Thank you. MAGA Cracker Mike says, it's also sad that so many MAGA people like me defended Nick Fuentes just for him to come back and backstab us when we were being attacked by the left. I mean, look, he's got his following and, it is what it is. There's so much to filter through right now. You've got the Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro stuff, which I was fully ready to talk about today. But then everything else has happened. Darian Murphy says Jeremy 199 was also Brady's draft number. That's right. 6th round, 199th pick overall. Laughing Haffron says, after what Trump said, if Republicans lose this midterm, it's on them prioritizing H-1B visas. Really? So make new jobs, but don't give it to Americans. And that's a lot more. God bless you, man. I can't wait to hear your opinion. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Listen, let's just jump right into the H-1B story because that's a pretty, I haven't really had a chance to talk about that one yet. So President Trump did an interview with Laura Ingraham and he said some things that really bothered some people. Now, this is coming off of the part one of the interview where he talked about the 600,000 Chinese students or whatever, which I talked about that and I said I wasn't happy with it either. So let's play. I've got a clip because Patrick Bet David was talking about it right here. So let's play this. He plays the clip. We're going to talk about it.
This has created a lot of conversation about the H-1B visa. It's every other channel. They're talking about this. Go ahead and play this clip, Rob.
Going to be a country like what we have right now.
And does that
the
mean
Republicans have to talk about it? Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent.
When we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll
give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants. They had people from South Korea that made
Hyundai.
batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
Adam.
Okay. Very stupid take from President Trump. I mean, there's really no way to spin that other than it was a very bad take. Okay. Now, is there context to it? Of course there is. But in isolation, it's a bad take. And it's okay to say it's a bad take. A lot of it is, and it goes back to what I said is the difference between J.D. Vance and President Trump, is that Trump just sometimes says things in a very stupid and sloppy way. Okay? It just is. You could break that down. If J.D. Vance was to make that statement, if J.D. Vance was to be asked that question directly, and I know there's a clip of J.D. Vance just a couple of months ago literally contradicting everything Trump said. So I understand that's out there. I'm just trying to say that if J.D. Vance was to answer that, he would answer it in a much more eloquent way that shows the logic behind the reasoning behind the statements. Trump didn't do that. It was sloppy and it was bad. It's that simple. Okay, so let's get that out of the way right now. Now, everybody claims, oh my God, the world's ending. Trump is MAGA's dead. It's over. There's the end of the world. It's the end of the world. Okay? The same people that are saying that, are they talking about this right here? Immigration population in the U.S. drops for the first time in decades. It's from the New York Times. So clearly the New York Times is not going to post something positive. Are you celebrating that? Are you celebrating that? No, because Trump is ruining the world because he made one fucking statement that you didn't like, because it was a sloppy, stupid statement that Trump often does a lot of times. And most of the time we laugh at him when he does that. Most of the time we meme him. But let's continue on because I want to hear more of what they have to say.
It doesn't work that way.
Adam, thoughts?
So, number one, I haven't thought of Laura Ingraham. And when's the last time we said her name on the show? With someone we don't talk about.
We haven't. But by the way, I thought she did a great job with the interview. And FYI, a very weird thing I'm about to say. This is the best I've seen her in years. So I don't know what she's doing. She looked great in this interview.
That's literally what I was about to say.
Really?
I love her. I'm being serious. Collectively.
I'm not even a fan. I'm not even a fan. I'm just telling you.
When's the last time we've mentioned her name on the podcast?
I don't think.
We've talked Jesse. We've talked. We've talked Hannity. We've talked Brett Baer. The whole deal. Laura Ingraham, respect to you. I haven't watched your show. It's not. I'm like an Ingraham person, but this is her first time that I've seen her on the national scene. Yeah. And she held her own. Do you think she's an advocate for Trump? Yes.
She's absolutely an advocate for Trump, but she pressed him. She pressed him multiple times in this interview. And this is probably, like, if I'm just being honest, this might be the worst interview President Trump has done. It might be the worst, optically anyway, it might be the worst one he's done for many reasons, but primarily because it's on Fox News. So you can't pull the oh, it's fake news, MSNBC, it's CNN, yada, yada, yada. Like, it's Fox News, and it's Laura Ingraham, who is it Ingraham or Ingram? I've always said Ingram, but either way, she's very supportive of President Trump. So, but either way, just want to point that out. It's not a good interview optically. It's really bad for him.
I think she's mostly aligned with Trump. Yes. But this was her opportunity to say, listen, I also have a voice. I also have a spine. I have also a backbone. Let me push back against the president in a respectful manner, not to be contentious like other interviews do. So I give her credit for standing up for Trump. I think they're mostly aligned, but she did have this conversation on H-1 visa. She defended Americans. She said, you don't have the talent here. Trump said straight up, we don't. You know how long it's going to retrain people? I do believe that we should have other people from other countries with high-skilled workers that should be allowed to have H-1B visas. But respect to Laura Ingraham for basically saying, no, I want to push back on you on Fox News.
But the problem is, like, the H-1B visa has been completely abused and compromised. That's just a fact. Like, you can You can try to look at it through a different lens. But this is the problem with Trump's statements, is that it doesn't address the problem at hand. That the H-1B visa has been absolutely abused and compromised, and it needs to be completely reformed before you talk about continuing to use it. So if you're not going to talk about the obvious problem that this creates and has created and has led to, when did the H-1B visa become available? Like in the 90s, 80s or some shit like that? Like, it's not like it's been around forever. And so his statement simply confirms all of the problems that the H-1B visa has created. That there's not enough people that are trained to do jobs here in this country because they've been overrun by immigrants. And companies. I would love to see a breakdown of, I bet the biggest companies in the world are also the ones that have the most H-1B visas, the most profitable companies in the country. I'm sorry. I bet the most profitable companies in this country are also the ones that have the highest percentage of H-1B visas. Why? Because it's really good for these large businesses. And he's not addressing the problem at hand. He's just glossing over it. And you are the guy, Trump, that created Make America Great Again. And then in the same sentence, you say, America isn't good enough. We need immigrants. It's an understandable reason for people to be upset. It's completely understandable.
So to push back against Trump, and you're a Fox News main anchor, main host, to do that, respect to you. Good job.
Yeah, and this continues, by the way, while she's going through it, Rob. And as they're going back and forth, she talks to him about the 600,000. I don't know if you have that one or not.
I do.
Do you have? Okay, fantastic. I was looking for it. So here's then, hey, this is why we need to give 600,000. Why not 300,000? Well, the colleges wouldn't get money. It's a great exchange. Go for it, Rob.
You said as many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them, and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money?
Sure. Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have. China and other countries.
Well, hang on. That's the first time I've seen that. I reacted to this, but now with the subtitles on, I didn't catch that the first time. Did you guys catch? Hang on. You hear what he said?
So many American kids want to go to school, and there are places not for them, and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money.
Sure. Never said about China.
Never said that about China. I didn't hear that the first time. So he said we never said that about China. Interesting. I didn't catch that the first time. That's actually a pretty important detail.
But we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have. China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans?
You would have the
fans of the United States?
Yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically, black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a system of colleges and universities.
Again, this kind of comes back to the messaging, though, that has to be acknowledged, regardless if he said that little part right there about never said about China. It really doesn't change the overall problem here. You know, President Trump has been on record multiple times complaining about China, complaining about the China virus, complaining about spies, complaining about, them coming into our country. You can't constantly complain about that and then just be like, brush off bringing potentially hundreds of thousands of students here unchecked. Like you have to understand why that's a problem. This is a problem. Like, it's truly an issue. And complaining about this is 100% valid. Acting like an emotionally unstable woman, like the libertarians, slightly different, slightly more embarrassing, but calling a spade, nothing wrong with that.
universities would
So
go
we're
down the
dependent on
tubes.
China to keep our
not
university
China,
system
but I
going?
think it's good to have. I actually
Interesting.
think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the
They're
world.
not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal our intellectual
What, do
property.
you think the French are better?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm not so sure. We've had a lot of problems with the French, where we get taxed very unfairly on our technology. Where they put 25% taxes on American products. Look, assuming everyone treats us badly, because that's the way I am, but we take in trillions of dollars from students. The students pay more than double when they come in from most foreign countries. I want to see our school system thrive, but at the same time, I know you and I disagree. We're never going to agree on it, but that's okay. And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a business. We have millions and millions of people.
He said the main word right there, Pat. When it comes to Trump, it's business. Period.
Well, I'll turn it over to you guys.
Well, and I've heard a few people had an issue with that statement that it's business. Who did you vote for? I mean, didn't you vote for a fucking businessman? That's who you voted for. So, like, at the same token, like, if you're going to get mad at Trump for contradicting himself, that's fine, because he has contradicted himself a little bit in both of those statements. But you can't get mad because you're like, Trump shouldn't be running our country like a business. Motherfucker, that's what you voted for. You literally voted for a billionaire businessman to run our country. That's what you voted for. Don't cry about it now.
Let me just say one thing. She seems more MAGA than Trump in this interview, does she not?
I don't think he has any idea what's going on here. Like, the vast majority of student or college income doesn't come from students paying to go there. It comes from the endowments. But I have the perfect idea to fix this. So 93% of student loans come from the government. Why do we give kids loans to just go and take?
Sergeant Groiper says Jeremy gaslighting us. I would never know who you watch. Man, glad you have your own identity, though. Glad you're good. Thank you. Why the fuck are you watching me? Like, why the fuck would you watch me? I'm fucking retarded.
Take any major. Why aren't those loans contingent upon the majors and jobs that the country needs? Like, if we have a shortage in, say, AI skills, why not just make student loans applicable only to people who are going to major in AI, and not give somebody a loan to major in, like
gender studies,
art.
And first of all, gaslighting, you use the term gaslighting. It tells me you're probably like 15 years old. Grown men don't use the term gaslighting. It's a really feminine way to talk. You're gaslighting me. You're gaslighting me. Oh my God. What the fuck are you talking about? You and your fucking TikTok words?
Graphic design or like interior design, whatever stuff that is oversaturated. Why not just make it depend on if you're going to do something that's useful and that's needed in the country? If the government's the main provider,
what a logical point. Like, it makes sense. Here's what we need. This is what we're giving scholarships for. This is what we're funding. We're not funding fine arts. We're not funding all this other stuff. This is what America needs. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, during the interview, he talked about HBCUs. That stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. Howard.
Yeah, Trump. I'm going to be honest with you, Trump. There ain't not one single person rocking a MAGA hat that gives a single solitary fuck about historically black colleges. That is not, I mean, the fact that Trump thought bringing that into the equation was going to help his case. And I'm like, nobody cares, Trump. Not one single person rocking a MAGA hat gives a single shit about that. What? Well, if we lose the colleges, we could lose the historically black colleges. And nobody cares.
And others. I was unaware that the Chinese were, swamping the HBCUs, and I was unaware that they go out of business if we stop the Chinese education visas. So on that point, I was a little confused. I think maybe it got stirred up in their talk there. That's a misspeak. That's not going to happen. The other side of it is, wait a minute. To the point that Brandon just made, is, if some of them go out of business because they can't they can't make ends meet, and yet they're all living on government grants.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm so sorry.
Well, again, that's the argument that I made when I reacted to the 600,000 clip that's over on D-Day Cobra 2 right now, is I brought back a point that Trump made about Canada. Trump made the point that if Canada can't exist without ripping off the United States of America, then maybe it shouldn't be its own country. The same logic applies to these universities. A lot of these universities, not all of them, but a lot of these universities are simply there to indoctrinate people with a leftist bullshit narrative. That's what they're there for. No, we don't care if they go out of business. If you are a college in the United States of America and you need foreign students to sustain your business model, then you don't need to be in business. So if cutting out all of these visas for foreign students, if that's going to collapse 20% of the universities or 30% of the universities, so fucking what? So what? No, not one single person that voted for Trump gives a fuck about that. Not one. I'm sorry. And this is where, again, valid criticisms against Trump. I have no issues. Valid criticisms against his nonsensical statement about the universities, valid criticisms about the H-1B visas. Like, there are valid things. This was not a good interview for Trump. It just wasn't.
I'm so sorry. And by the way, most of the colleges in the United States, if you look at them, there's private colleges, and then there's the public colleges, University of Florida, Florida State, FIU, FAU, USF. There's like 5 of them UCF. In Florida that all are supported by Tallahassee and regular tuition. They're supported by states. And then what do we have? What's the private schools that we have here? Barry, University of Miami. That's about it. So it's like to
Rob,
say.
can you pull that up? So that's the breakdown of Harvard's funding. Tom, finish your thoughts on this.
Yeah,
to say,
that's my thoughts. It's like state schools are supported by states.
Yeah, here you go. This is Harvard's operating revenue 2024, 45% philanthropy. You got 21% education. Then you got federally sponsored research. Then you got non-federally sponsored research. Then you got other. Operating expenses, $6.4 billion. That's Harvard University. Interesting when you're looking at this.
So Brandon's
part
right.
of it,
20 cents on the dollar comes from tuition.
Yeah. Here's what I want you to think about. So maybe, just maybe, because here's how Trump is. Like, for example, there are certain men in your life that are purely driven based on respect. You don't respect them, they can be very nasty. Okay, very. I relate to that. Last night I'm at this event, and I get invited to this event. They email us 2 months ago. We'd like to honor you and recognize you for something. No problem. I asked Mateo. This is at Mar-a-Lago. It's called the Big Blue Bash, Law Enforcement Today. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to this event. RFK is going to be there. Tulsi Gabbard's going to be there. Kash Patel's going to be there. Let me see who else they said is going to be there. All these names that they're saying is going to be there. And
you said Tom Homan was there?
Tom Homan was there. Kristi Noem crushed it. She did I was so impressed by Kristi Noem last night. But they had a lineup of all these speakers. About 80% of them, none of them showed up. No problem. Okay. Because, sometimes they'll put that stuff to bring people in. And then we're sorry they couldn't show up. So I go to the event last night.
By the way, I want to hear what he's going to say, but I just want to show you this. It's official. The House gives a final passage to reopen the federal government, now en route to the desk of President Trump. 222-209. Signing is imminent at 9:45. So there you have it. No Obamacare credits in the bill. We held the line by the stroke of 47's pen. The Schumer shutdown and national nightmare is ending finally. I'm not celebrating it. I want it to stay shut down, to be honest. But as long as, the conservatives and the MAGA side held the line and didn't give in to the Democrats, that's okay too. But I'm not going to celebrate the government reopening per se. Just not going to do it. But yes, a win's a win. I agree with that.
And I'm walking up. Honestly, I totally forgot what the event's reason for me going. I'm thinking I'm just going to go support and leave. Charity, something, support and leave. Military, cops. I love cops. I love military. I love any of these guys. Homan and I had an incredible conversation. The guy was sitting next to me, federal prosecutor, incredible conversation. Talked to the Epoch Times guys. Saw a bunch of our clients that are there as well. Military, Nick Freddy's just crushed it on stage. Whether I met, zoom in a little bit, Rob, I talked to a bunch of the guys on the bottom that they're honored.
Somebody said I sound disconnected like Tim Pool. Tell me how. Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos. H1B Juan Carlos. Tell me why there, Juan Carlos. Are you here on a H1B, Juan Carlos? Let me know. Where are you at? Where's your name at? Tell me all about it, Juan Carlos. Tell me all about it. Go ahead, tell me about my country, Juan Carlos. Shutdown doesn't affect you, he said. Shutdown doesn't affect you. Let's see. Hang on. God, the chat is like behind. Can't find Juan Carlos. But anyway, he says, shutdown doesn't affect me. Correct. I don't rely on the fucking government to live my life. Correct. Welcome to how you should live your life. Don't allow the government to determine your fucking life. Welcome to what MAGA is all about, Juan Carlos. Exactly the reason I live my life the way I do. Thank you for proving my point, H1B1. Hang on. Dude, what do you know what's about to fucking happen? Hold on. Do you know what's about to happen? Somebody in the chat says you rely on super chat handouts. Do you know what's about to happen with your comment? Telling me that I rely on super chats. I wonder what's going to happen by you saying that. I just want to find your comment so we can highlight it. But my chat is like lagging behind. This is the person that did it, that said it, though. So I can only imagine what's going to happen in the chat now. I wasn't even going to focus on super chats tonight. I was just, look, there's a lot of news to get to. I was not going to grift too much. But you had to come in here and run your fucking mouth. All it had to take was for you to shut the fuck up. And now people are going to send a lot of fucking super chats. All you had to do was shut the fuck up. Experience says Jeremy runs a successful business. Oh my God. You guys have broke my super. I can't even highlight them because you guys have broke the comments. I can't even highlight it. The chat has broken. I can't highlight Willie Will's comment. I can't highlight Samsung's comment. All of my super chats are broken right now. It's fucking crazy. They're not populating at all. Are you kidding me? Hang on. I got to see if I can do this now. I got to show you guys. Like they're not populating. Look at this. This is my super chat screen right here. And they just, you guys broke them. I can't, like I usually would highlight as they come in. It's completely broken. My chat's not moving. Everything's broken. Willie Will dropped a $500 super chat and says, no, you don't. Samsung says super chat handout for broke retail man so he can eat something besides dog food tonight. 1992 Space Movie just dropped a 50 gifted membership. All because somebody had to come in here and say, I rely on super chats. Like, I swear, if I was smart enough, I would create dummy accounts. Okay, so here's what's about to happen. I'm going to leave this call and pop back in. The stream is going to stay live. I need to see if I can fix my super chat thing. I'll be right back. Don't leave. I'll be right back. Okay, we fixed it. We fixed it, boys. Now, look at this. We fixed it. See that? Now they've all populated. Willie Will for $500. $500 from Willie Will. Samsung for $100. Andrew CR, handout tax. Here's your handout. Graham Robbins, H1B Carlos, and handout tax. You don't need this. Oh, boy. You love to see it, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, sorry. We got sidetracked. Sorry about that. Okay. Professional streamer. Yes. I hate all of you because I'm looking at my microphone level to see if I'm muted. So you did get me to look. You did get me to look. Zwanny says, proud super chat. Hail the 199. 1992 space movie. 50 gifted memberships. Dude, what the hell is happening? You know what happens when we get 50 gifted memberships? Anna Paulina Luna shows up. And we all like when Anna Paulina Luna shows up, don't we? Don't we? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes. Yes, we do. Sydney Sweeney shows up. We got a $500 super chat from Willie Will. So Sydney Sweeney has to show up. There we have it. You guys are insane, dude. What is happening right now? JMNZZ450 says, here's a handout. We got Sexy Moon Goddess for 50 says, MAGA. Dude, you just did, whoever that guy is that complained just made me like $1,000 in like 10 minutes. Like, how stupid are the people that hate me? Seriously, how fucking stupid are you? It's unbelievable. Whatever, though. Anyway, thank you guys for your insanity. I really appreciate it. Jeremy's alt account. Dude, I honestly, here's the thing. There will be a day where I will have to create alt accounts to fake this stuff. Probably. I'll probably be like in my 60s. And I'll probably be like, nobody's super chatting me no more. I got to create some fake accounts. Because my arthritis will be so bad, I won't be able to play video games. And so I'll just have to create like all this fake narratives and shit. But not today. Not today. I'll be old as shit talking about, remember when Trump was a president and how great those days were? By the way, look at this. I wanted to pull this up to show everybody. I ran across this the other day, and I couldn't believe it, all right? This is no bullshit, okay? This is like real shit, what I'm about to show you, okay? Look at this. This is 6 years ago. I'm wearing the same thing. Same room. I'm wearing the same thing. This is like almost 7 years ago. It's I think it's like 6.5 years ago. I'm wearing the same shit. I can't believe I just have longer hair. You know what? I could put the Star Wars hat on. You want me to put the Star Wars hat on? Give me a minute. Ugh. All right, here we go. All right, we got the Star Wars hat. I haven't worn this hat in a long time, but I did have it over here. I've had it. Everybody asked me, do you still have it? I still have it. 6 years apart. There it is. Have I gotten any? I really haven't gained any weight, really. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Maybe a little bit. But, I mean, this is the same shirt. So... oh, man. Whatever. Fucking weird, man. So... but anyway, I want to show everybody that. I'll just keep the Star Wars hat on for now. Let's continue on, you mad lads.
That's reason for me going. I'm thinking I'm just going to go support and leave. Charity, something, support and leave. Military, cops. I love cops. I love military. I love any of these guys. Holman and I had an incredible conversation. The guy was sitting next to me, federal prosecutor, incredible conversation. Talked to the Epoch Times guys. Saw a bunch of our clients that are there as well. Military, Nick Freitas just crushed it on stage. Whether I met, zoom in a little bit, Rob, I talked to a bunch of the guys on the bottom that they're honoring these veterans, right? All these veterans that they're honoring. Michael Flynn doing what he does as usual. Absolutely amazing. Anyways, so then it's about 8 o'clock. I'm texting Mateo, I got to go because my kids are saying, where are you at? I've been there since, it's because it started at, they said, be there at like 5 o'clock, something like that. So like, I got to go see the kids. Yeah, but they're running, I got to go see it. When they're saying they're doing it right after dinner. Well, they haven't done anything yet.
Bro, PBD is like taking forever to get to the point.
Anyways, it's 9:45.
Jeez.
Then they finally are doing the recognition. At this point, kids are asleep. You know, I
Did
got
you
a
say
45 minute.
9:45?
9:45.
You wanted to leave at 8, so you're running 2 hours behind at this
And
point.
by the way, it's the only day for me to be with my kids
You're
because
leaving.
this weekend I'm at
leaving
PHP.
town, yeah.
I'm going to somewhere like respect my time. So I'm watching this lady, Judy, who's running the organization. One of the ladies that's running it comes, talks to me. Very classy, talks to my wife, nice person. Kyle, the guys who are on stage, is doing his thing. And then they're playing the videos for the people that recognize them. Okay? They're playing these videos. And then all the videos are done. And the guy on stage, who I've had on, is funny guy, phenomenal. It's Sheriff Mark. You know what I'm talking about, Rob? Mark from Arizona, phenomenal. That we've had him on. And then he's like, and Patrick Bet-David. Mark Lamb. Yeah, he crushed it last night. And Patrick Bet-David. No video, no picture, nothing. So everybody's kind of looking around. There's like 40 people like, hey, Pat, I'm here because you're getting a recognition, all this stuff. So I walk on stage. I'm like, okay, it's probably a screw up. Maybe it's on our end. Maybe we missed the mark on something. No problem. They give it respectful. I took like 150 selfies last. I took so many pictures with people. It's awesome. Yeah. Talking to all these guys. That's a big.
I really like Patrick Bet-David. I watch him a lot. I'm kind of like, I've kind of forgot what the point was. Like, somebody just said it too. Keys just said it. What point was he making? I mean, to be fair, I've gotten a lot of distractions between when he started, but like, I've kind of forgotten what he's talking about.
Babe, we got to go. I grab Jen. We get in the car. I call Mateo. I say, Mateo, what happened over here? What was this all about? He says, what do you mean? I said, they recognized, but they just kind of said the name. There was no video. There was nothing, but they played video for everybody else. I don't know. I said, call the guy. So Nafal, who is the guy that made the recommendation with Judy for this to happen, this recognition, this award to happen last night. No problem. I call him and say, hey, what happened here? He said, I have no idea. I said, who's in charge of this? I have no idea. And I'm like, Nafal, I would have much rather you don't even recognize me. I just wanted to come, show my face, and leave at 8 o'clock so I can see my kids. You guys know how important it is for me to see my 100%. Kids. I want to come see the kids. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. Let me get this other guy on. So he gets this guy on, Matthew Silverman with 1 T. Okay?
I don't know.
He gets on the call.
Bro, this all started because he was talking about like some guys want the respect and all of that. Like, that's how this all started. And so he's like, the other night, and I was like, oh, dude, like, okay, this is going somewhere. This is a good point. I truly am kind of lost.
And I said, he gets on this guy right here. Zoom in his picture so we can show who he is. Just zoom in on his face, please. Zoom in right there. Yeah. So this guy right here. So he gets on the call. It's me and Mateo. He says, oh, didn't you get free dinner anyways? Didn't you get a free table? Didn't you get a free seat? You got me to get off the stage right now?
What?
He's talking to me like this. This is the president of the organization.
Oh, my God.
Nafal is on the call. So is Mateo listening to this call. I said, excuse me? Did you send your videos in? Did you send your pictures in? I said, Mateo. So at this point, I'm thinking, maybe Mateo missed an email. Mateo's like, you guys never requested anything. You don't send anything. You don't. I'm like, listen, buddy. And he keeps speaking over me and Mateo. And then I'm like, guys, I'm good. You will never see my face at this organization ever again. I'm out. This guy, arrogant, pompous, probably a 5.
I think we're gonna move on, man. I really like PBD, but I have no idea what the hell's going on at this point. I can't even build a conversation out of this shit. I don't know what he's talking about. I apologize to the audience. I really thought he was gonna have a good point that was gonna be about, and he may, but I'm out, bro. Like, I'm a TikTok kid at this point. Like, give me a YouTube short. I can't take this long-winded answer. So, Little Jim Taylor says, you're the same, my guy. Yes, I am. I'm a little retarded. So I'm not going to deny that. But I'm not as retarded as Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries is losing it on the House floor in pathetic fashion. This is about an hour ago, right before the shutdown was signed, the vote went in. But listen to this right here.
Fight will end. Only two ways, Mr. Speaker, that this fight will end. Either Republicans finally decide to...
By the way, I can't wait for the sombrero memes to come away with this one, because you know there's going to be some sombrero memes. You know it's going to happen.
Extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits this year, or the American people will throw Republicans out of their jobs next year and end the speakership of Donald J. Trump once and for all. That's how this fight ends. Speaker?
Was he hoping for like a clap? Like, that was a pathetic clap. Look at this.
Of Donald J. Trump once and for all. That's how this fight ends. Mr. Speaker, during this painful Trump Republican shutdown, what we've seen is two different philosophies in terms of how to govern for the American people. The Democratic Party philosophy is clear. We are ready, will.
Now, I might have had some motivation to go to this clip, okay? Because right now, you're all going, Patrick Bet David wasn't that bad now. 51 seconds into listening to Timu Obama, PBD wasn't that bad, Jeremy. Go back.
Willing and able to find bipartisan common ground anytime, any place, to enact spending agreements that actually make life better for the American people. But in order to do that, we need to have partners on the other side of the aisle who are actually willing to find a bipartisan path forward. But what we've seen from Republicans from the very beginning of this presidency is a my way or the highway approach. That's been the Republican philosophy. Jam your extremism down the throats of the American people. That's what we've seen from day one of this presidency. That's the reason why the government has been shut down by Republicans and Donald Trump for the longest period of time in American history. What have we seen from Donald Trump and Republicans during this shutdown? A consistent unwillingness.
Bro, you guys shut it down. It's your shutdown.
To actually find common ground in order to make life better for the American people. Donald Trump, during this shutdown, found the time to play golf week after week after week. Donald Trump found the time to pardon serial fraudsters like George Santos and Rudolph Giuliani.
You're going to go, oh my God. You think going after Giuliani is gonna give you any points with anybody that is not already on your side? Like, get the hell out of here, dude. Oh my gosh, he played golf, everyone. He played golf. That's your big gotcha with Trump right now? Again, with all the shit that Trump is saying that's annoying the hell out of everyone, your big gotcha is that he played golf? That's your gotcha. Are you kidding me? This just shows you how ridiculous the Democrats are. You've actually got legitimate shit going on that the MAGA base is criticizing Trump over, and you call him out on golf. Good Lord, man. How insane are these people? Jeez. Oh, hang on. All right, so right here, I saw this. This is a beautiful starter pack of who to mute or block on X if you want to enjoy talking about the games you play. So this is a starter pack. So I'm on the starter pack of people that you should block. I love this. I love being included on these lists. I love it. Hell yeah. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you for the compliment. I greatly appreciate that. So that's a compliment. That's a good one. Even my boy Kada. Look at Kada. Sitting at the grown-ups table. Gary said serious oversight here. He didn't name the number one gamer in all of this little corner of the internet. They didn't mention pro gamer Gary. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Terrible. We got to fix that, Gary. We got to fix that. Fire up a Fortnite stream, man. That'll do it. That's the only game I fucking play, and they included me on it. So that Mario Kart. Imagine putting a guy that plays Mario Kart and Fortnite on your. These guys are they're just destroying the gaming world. I play Fortnite and Mario Kart. The fuck am I doing? I mean, okay. If you want to include me on that, that's totally fine. Let's get a few super chats really quick. Where are we at? All right, let's go back up here. Marmellin says, here's your shekels for the Israeli Defense Force, since clearly you're full shilling for the Israeli love somehow. I don't know how yet, but I'll release the text to Candace to prove it. Oh, boy. I am done. I am over. $10, though? Like, if I'm going to be a true kind of like Israeli shill, shouldn't I demand more? I'm just thinking ahead of the curve, okay? I'm just thinking ahead of the curve. Fentanyl Floyd says, what are the Trump black pillars plans? Sit out 26 and 28 so Dems can win and finish what Biden started? What's the strategy here? So again, this is my problem with it, is that it's just, dude, the people that are the majority, and I'm not saying like the majority of people that you see pushing the negativity right now with MAGA are libertarians and people that were probably DeSantis bros that eventually had to support Trump. And there are some MAGA people that are genuinely, upset. I mean, I'm not happy with a lot of the stuff I'm hearing from Trump, but I'm not like I'm happy. I mean, I'm unhappy within reason, because I'm happy with so many things that Trump has done, but there's clearly some issues and some missteps that he's having right now, and that's fine. So we should criticize him. We should hold him accountable. We should voice our displeasure like we've always done as MAGA supporters. But dude, man, like the people that are losing their minds, and it's bad right now. Like it is crazy. But it's very much in a vacuum. So MAGA Mike says, I will never join a movement that starts with Nick Fuentes or his army of morons ever. Says MAGA Crack-a Mike. Laughing Haffron says, whoever made the comment that there's no immigration happening at the border, you were right about that. It's happening with H-1B, replace those with slave labor. Yeah, I'm so pissed. And then he says, they're just replacing immigrants with immigrants that they can use for their corporation and pay them less. It's still immigration. Either abolish H-1B or abolish student visas. Well, I don't disagree with you in theory. I mean, I think the H-1B visa and the student visas are a problem. I'm not sure if it's realistic to say abolish the H-1B or abolish student visas, even though that's what me and probably the majority of people in MAGA want. You still have to think realistically. It's about taking a serious look at these programs and seeing how they're being completely abused by major American companies, because that is truly what's happening. That is, these things are being abused big time. And I don't think there's even a discussion to be had. Mod Eric says, have a take, don't suck. MAGA Cracker Mike says, Groypers, you can insult Trump. He makes mistakes that should be criticized. But when you come after the entire MAGA movement, you're only going to hurt your own GFY. MAGA Crack a Mic is on it right now. Moto Metal Racer says Ingram smasher pass. Pull it. Laura Ingram? I wouldn't turn her down. I wouldn't turn her down. Not worth it. Like, I'm not going to. Lord Voldemort says Trump apparently thinks Americans are too stupid to make missiles. The VJ the Vigilant says Trump or says Jeremy, don't you need H1B to replace Beardo? NPC Hero for 20 says Jeremy, you are proof that a lot of these colleges don't need to exist. You are more well-spoken and self-aware than most of the people that went to university with. Common sense beats out a liberal arts education 9 times out of 10. Well, I don't know if I'm proof, but there are people that are proof. But I do appreciate it. But I mean, listen, I don't want to go on a rant about college and all of that shit. I mean, I think college is a fucking scam for 90% of people that go. I think there are certain jobs and certain fields that require further education, but I think it's a fucking scam. I think it's a giant fucking scam, and it's meant to put people in debt so that you can benefit. It's meant to make people think that they need to go. And so, I mean, I think even the public education school is a scam too in a lot of ways. So, you know, I think that it's, you know, it's designed to teach you what they want you to learn, not what you should learn. There are some basic fundamentals that I think children should be learning. And then when you move into young adults, there are other fundamentals that you need to be learning. And we waste a bunch of time off shit that we don't even ever use. But it makes you feel good to know that you have this knowledge, I guess. But I just think the majority of it is a giant scam. But I would not recommend anyone do anything based off what I'm saying. I'm just giving you my opinion on it. You know, I like for me, when I was in school, I was just very much like, I can't stand, it's funny to say this as a person that sits down and streams for a living now, but historically, I'd never wanted a job where I was sitting and like an office job or a desk job. I just couldn't deal with that type of shit. And I would say streaming is vastly different than something like that because, you know, I get to interact with people. I get to talk shit, have fun. I get people to criticize me, call me names. Like it's a big group chat is what streaming is, at least streaming for me. You know, like for me, I just wanted to be active. I wanted to be up and moving. I could not function just sitting at a desk all day. But because the system required that I do that, I would always get in trouble. I would always get sent to the principal's office. I would always be doing like, I was a complete asshole in school to the teachers. I was arrogant. There were times where if we had 100 math problems, I would do like 10 or 20. And then walk up and turn the paper in and walk out of the classroom. And then, so I'd get like a 20 on the fucking test because I literally would not complete 80%. And I'm like, not my fucking, look, I prove I could do the problems just because you need to require me to be here so you can get your 8 hours a day. It's not my fucking problem. I proved I could do it. Of course, get written up, go to the office, but it's true. Like, why the fuck do I need to do 100 of these problems? If I can do 20, then now you're just wasting my time so we can maximize your day so you can get paid. Well, fuck you. I got shit to do. It didn't work out too well for me, but that was my attitude. It did not work out well at all. Beastie Man says more trolls in the chat equals more desperation from the left. Do we have a lot? I guess I'm on top chat. Let me go to live chat. Let's see here. All right. Go to live chat. Willie Will says, I was a class clown in academy. Wow. I did for a little while, wasting your Mario Kart time. The only problem Jeremy can't do is getting a haircut. Laughing Afrin part 3 says, if they're so worried about not having people to work, here's a concept. Maybe training someone in the United States to do the job. Our school system is broken. That's a problem as well. And then Laughing Havers, this is my last one. I honestly think, not being panicking, I think he just got lost a lot of supporters, and I honestly think the Republicans might lose the midterms. Generation is done with this corporate BS. I don't know if we can, like, you have to understand. Thank you, Laughing Heifer. I appreciate it, brother. It's important to understand that the internet is the internet, and it represents a definitely it represents the momentum, and it represents a lot of, you know, of the feelings from you know, people, but it is often distorts reality. Someone years ago, I can't remember who it was, but they said, like, Twitter is like a carnival fun house. And when you go into a carnival fun house, remember, it's got all those mirrors and it distorts reality. And so it doesn't give you a proper representation of what the real world is. That's what Twitter does in a lot of ways. Twitter distorts reality. Social media distorts reality. It's very good from an information standpoint to keep you up to speed, but it definitely distorts your view of the real world that's going on. So I don't know if, like, again, I've seen a ton of prominent libertarians pushing this anti-MAGA narrative, and I just don't buy it. You know, MAGA Cracker Mike says, we have bigger fish to fry than the H-1B visas. If this moronic infighting keeps up, we'll all lose for the next decade. Everything will revert back to authoritarianism we seen during COVID, but worse. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. Mo Kiss's family says that you the best retard. Let's see. You might be retarded, but you're our retard. That's it. How did I fuck that one up? Hail the 199. How did I mess that up? Shows how stupid I am. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. There's Willie Will's $500. Says, no, you don't. Hail to Willie freaking Will with a $500 super chat. Phil for a 99 said, thank you. Andrew Sarah says, handout tax. Sam Sung says, super chat handout for broke retail man so he can eat something besides dog food tonight. We're going to eat good tonight because of your super chat. I am now going to eat. I don't want anybody to get jealous. So maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I don't want to brag. So I don't want to brag. Do you guys want me to brag? I'll brag. Again, I'm a pretty humble guy, but there's people struggling. So I don't know if I want to brag, but after this $100 super chat, like, I kind of want to brag. I'm going to brag. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to be eating. You're not going to believe me. I'm going to be eating SpaghettiOs tonight. Woo! SpaghettiOs and water. Oh. Yep. Boys, it don't get no better than that. If you too would like to be a low effort YouTuber like myself and get super chats because you're desperate, you too can eat SpaghettiOs right out of the can. That's right. That's what you can look forward to if you're ever like me. Nandy for 20 says, here's your handout. Thank you, brother. Graham Robbins says, H1B Carlos and handout tax. Candy T says handout tax. Ladybug says handout tax. Zwani says proud super chat. Hail the 199 Mod Lives Matter. Chat Lives Matter. 1992 space movie for 50 gifted memberships. 50. SpaghettiOs and Hamburger Helper is S tier. I'm not sure if I want to think that's disgusting or awesome. Maybe a little both. JMNZZ for 50. Thank you. Phil says, Jeremy only likes me for my money. You are correct. Thank you, Phil. Mr. No One says, the only reason to celebrate the government opening is that the military members will get paid. I agree. And obviously, like, when I say that I don't want the government opening, like, I feel kind of dumb, like, giving, like, context to this. Like, obviously, there are essential workers that I want, you know, to get paid, and I'm sympathetic to that. I don't want any of our essential workers to struggle. It's more about, like, you know, the people that are abusing the system is what frustrates people like me. We see this system that's abused constantly, and unfortunately, that's where our mindset goes because of what has happened in the last decade, plus actually, I guess the last 15, 20 years now that we have all witnessed. It's never about that. Now people can, try and paint a picture and go, oh, you guys are being sensitive or you guys are being disrespectful. It's like, no. What we're actually doing is we're saying, get these lazy pieces of shit off of this government funded bullshit and, pay the people that matter. As a matter of fact, I've got a clip I'll show you right now. Hang on. To further my point, okay? Now, I'm going to play a clip from I think one of the greatest human beings on the planet, and I'm not BSing about this. There's a lot of people that pretend to be good people that are full of shit. There's one person that I truly believe is one of the most genuine human beings I've ever seen in my lifetime. And that would be Tim Tebow. And listen to what Tim Tebow says right here. He went on the Flagrant podcast and to the point of these essential workers and funds are being wasted. Listen to what Tim Tebow has to say.
It is one of the worst evils in the world, and it is happening all around the world at a massive scale, but it's also happening right here in the U.S. And right now, this year, somewhere between 300,000 to 1 million people will be trafficked in the U.S. And so many of those will be minors. And trafficking is a horrible, horrible evil. But also something that's really important to highlight is the exploitation
of the traffic.
No, the exploitation. So a lot of people bunch them together, but they're a little bit different. Trafficking is primarily done for profit. Exploitation is primarily done for pleasure. So exploitation is done on the most of the time on the internet, and there'll be like peer-to-peer networks that someone download a peer-to-peer network and they will share child rape videos, and they'll be part of groups that goes back and forth. And we just think this is happening, over there somewhere. But I pulled something just for you guys. Can y'all pull that up? You see that? Those red dots? This is New York State. That every red dot is a unique IP address that is downloading and sharing child images and videos. And that's just the last 30 days in the state of New York.
Jeez. The last 30 days in the state of New York.
Whoa. And is the FBI arresting these people?
Well, do you see the blue dots? Those are the ones that are being investigated.
So just investigation?
The blue dots are the ones that are being investigated.
But if you have a confirmed IP address that's sharing.
I love Tim Tebow's take on this in terms of what the true issue is as to why we aren't seeing more people held accountable, and listen to it. And again, it goes back to all of these lazy pieces of garbage that are taking handouts from the government because they're too lazy to go get a job and do anything. We need to be putting those funds to what really matters.
This type of content.
So it's a good conversation, and a lot of people will say, well, how are they not doing more? Our law enforcement, can areas get better? Of course, but our law enforcement is so undermanned. It does not have many places, does not have the best tech. They are undermanned. There is a few people that their job is this. It is not a lot. Like we have, we want to talk about all these things and they can't, and defund them. Listen, when you defund them, you're not actually caring for these boys and girls. I think we need to escalate how many hires we have, especially in victim identification, to keep these boys and girls safe. It's one of our bills in Congress. Is the Renewed Hope Act, is so that we would hire more victim identification specialists to be able to identify these boys and girls so that we can knock on that door and go safeguard that child.
Why do you think that this is not unanimously supported or even spoken about? It seems
we've been speaking a lot about it.
Of course you guys have, but
why is it not amplified?
Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Well, we wrote our bill specifically in a way for right or left, because for us, it's not about politics. It's about people, especially people that are suffering. Yeah. And this is trafficking, except this is just trafficking down the hall.
Yeah.
The number one offender in this, biological fathers.
No way.
Yes.
Do you think people aren't doing more about this because we feel, oh, this is a problem over there?
I think that is a big part of it. Yes. I feel like we think it's just over there. And
over there meaning overseas.
Overseas. We think it's Taken, Liam Neeson. We think it's all of these other things when it's not. We have so many issues that are taking place right here in our country. And I could keep going off lists. We're the #1 buyer for boys and girls around the world. America is.
Meaning like videos of it?
Yes.
And to Schultz's point, like the fact that this isn't more discussed on a higher level is absolutely insane. I am really thankful for Tim Tebow, and I will die on the hill that the NFL absolutely did not want. When Tim Tebow was at the height of his NFL career, they were hitting ratings that they have never hit. He was the biggest star in all of sports. He lost one playoff game to Tom Brady, and he never started a game again. He was teaching people to pray. He was teaching people about Christianity. He was teaching people about being kind. Yeah, you could say, oh, well, he had a terrible, throwing motion and all that. You know what? The dude took over a terrible football team that hadn't been in the playoffs in several years. He took them over 5 games into a season. They were 1-4, and he took them to the freaking playoffs. And they won a playoff game. And any situation, you would look at that and go, hey, this young kid's got potential. This former Heisman Trophy winner has potential. Let's put some resources behind him, and let's see if we can develop him. Nope. Because he prays too much.
We pay for the rape of boys and girls in the Philippines, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Thailand. Like, we're the #1 buyer in peer-to-peer sharing of this information. We're 3rd worst in the world. China, Russia, US, and Italy's 4th. Like, this is one of the worst evils in the world. And people think, well, we're not doing that. Yes, we
do really think that.
I know we do.
Yeah.
And that's one of the, our hearts is to get this, message out, to be able to make change and then support our law enforcement and task forces that are working on this. Cause there are some freaking heroes that are fighting this every single day, but they do not have as good of technology most of the time as those with the goal to do evil. They just don't. And they're also, do you know how hard it is for these law enforcement officers when you wake up every day and you watch a video of an infant, of an 18-month-old, a 9-month-old, when you watch, and that's one of the #1 burnout.
Dude, I one thing that annoys me, now correct me if I'm wrong, somebody can say that and it's just in my head here, because I'm reacting to Tim Tebow, I was trying not to cuss. When I'm around people that I know don't cuss too much unless I know them very well, I just try to respect it or whatever. These guys have used the Lord's name in vain like 5 times sitting next to Tim Tebow. It's like, have some respect for your guest, bro. Like, what are we doing?
Rates for law enforcement.
I mean, I can't imagine
when you do that. Yeah, and I think it's something around 3 years for them. But you take a year to be trained up, and now you're burnt out. Now you got to bring someone else on, and it's like, how do we have the manpower to do that?
I mean,
so somebody said, "What about Jay and Krista?" They know me too well. They know me way too well. Point being is that was an eye-opening clip from Tim Tebow, and it does show that too many people are abusing the government handouts, and it's disgusting. And those resources should be going to first responders, police officers, firemen, whatever, security. But instead, we're using money to fund fat, lazy, ugly people. That pisses off a lot of people. So, John freaking Murdoch for 50 says, hey, Jeremy, I always thought you were more of a meat and potatoes kind of guy. Oh, well, SpaghettiOs it is. Oh, and handout and gaslighting tax. Hail the 199. Chat lives matter. Mod lives matter. Happy Jessica. Thank you, John freaking Murdoch. Willie Will says, my wife did that. Let's see. My wife didn't that for 4 long years. You mean didn't do that? Is that what you meant by that, Willie Will? Prayers up to you still, though, brother, man. But yeah. Okay. Another thing, I have not seen this clip. Okay. I've not seen this clip, but Pat McAfee, who's the biggest name in all of sports media, who's also a former NFL player. He's huge and he's never been a political guy, but he interviewed President Trump on his show. No special victims unit for 4 years. Got you. I got you. So he interviewed President Trump. And of course, with him being a very prominent person at ESPN, his interview of President Trump got a lot of people upset. So here's his response to the people complaining about his interview with President Trump.
Yesterday, obviously, we had the incredible honor of being down on Paris Island for Veterans Day as all 4 of the main league's commissioners dropped a note to the veterans, letting them know how much we appreciate them. UFC President Dana White sent a message of appreciation and gratitude to our America's heroes. We also had the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins, who sent a message to the young vets out there. And we also had the Commander-in-Chief on the show live. I believe it's the second time that a sitting president has been live on an ESPN show. The last one was from a Democratic political party. This one obviously representing, I guess, the Republican political party. But in my eyes, he's the leader of the military, and we were celebrating the hell out of Veterans Day. Now, there are people who are certainly not the most happy that happened, but what I would like to say, every veteran military person I talked to is very grateful and thankful that we spotlighted the heroes of America who walk amongst us, who are willing to sign a line and go for the United States of America as opposed to anything else.
Dude, Pat McAfee is the best thing that's happened to sports media. He absolutely is. If we could get more people that are like Pat McAfee, who doesn't take a political stance, but acknowledges the importance of respecting the office, he is the best thing that has happened to sports media.
So if you're against what happened yesterday, I'd like to say you hate the troops. And you should go ahead and swallow that, and you can take that to where you want to go. And any president.
Yeah, yes. I have not heard this yet. That is awesome.
That's what happened yesterday. I'd like to say you hate the troops. And you should go ahead and swallow that, and you can take that to where you want to go. And any president, any president, okay, willing to come on our Veterans Day celebration spotlight show, Commander-in-Chief, head of military, we would be very open to. So we would like to let any president know going forward that if we were allotted the opportunity to go to Paris Island for the first time ever and have a live show.
This is exactly how sports media should be. Respect the office.
In front of actual Marines while they're doing their thing. And if we're going to celebrate Veterans Day, we're going to have all 4 of the commissioners, the heads of every single league in the United States of America, basically, and also have the president of the UFC global thing come on, and the sergeant major of the Marines. If future presidents, you always be welcome.
Boom.
Also, it was missed. I did reach out to President Obama's team. Okay, President Obama talked to multiple people in President Obama's team. Wasn't able to work because of the quick turnaround. We started this thing on Monday because there was a lot of conversations late last week about this show.
So Trump can show up while being the sitting president, and Barry couldn't show up while he's on his retirement tour. Are you? Puts it in full perspective, doesn't it? Puts it in full perspective.
Not going to be allowed. There were some people in the government, obviously, that found out about this very late that said, wait, he's going to be allowed to be on Paris Island? We're in the middle of a government shutdown. There's no way. Is any other show allowed on any? Is any other show allowed? No. Well, why the hell is this guy allowed? So end of last week, there was a lot of doubt, and I completely understood the doubt. I thought it was crazy that it was even going to potentially be happening anyways. So once we got the clear and the go-ahead and the stage was built on Sunday on Paris Island in front of that beautiful Iwo Jima statue, it was an incredible thing. As soon as I found out that it was real, then I started piecing the show together because I had no idea if I was just going to be wasting my time doing it before then. So everybody that responded within a 12-hour period, I am so incredibly grateful for. And we are so lucky that we got a chance to spotlight the greats who walk among us. And we appreciate the hell out of the Marines for the hospitality. And you guys are the greatest. What a day yesterday.
Hell yeah.
What a day yesterday. Got a lot of people saying mean stuff to me. Got a lot of people saying mean stuff to me. Yep. Got a lot of people that don't know what a football looks like telling me they're never watching my show again. And I would like to let you know, good. Fuck you. Let's move on. Yes.
That is the attitude right there. That is the attitude. Tell him, Pat. Tell him, Pat.
People saying mean stuff to me. Yep. Got a lot of people that don't know what a football looks like telling me they're never watching my show again. And I would like to let you know, good. Fuck you. Let's move on.
That's it, man. That's the attitude you have to have with these freaks, man, because they will continue to pounce. Now I gotta acknowledge something that is going to be very uncomfortable. I don't want to make anyone in the chat uncomfortable, but I'm going to apologize in advance. Jeremy, I am forcing my seven fucking kids to watch your fucking stream. Can you please stop using so much damn language, you son of a bitch? Damn. I am so sorry. I apologize. I meant no harm, man. I'm fucking sorry, bro. So I thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will try to do better. Absolutely. I will try my best to do better. Sleepies for 20 says just wanted to be part of the Cool Kids Club. Thank you so much. There's Sexy Moon Goddess with the 50 says MAGA. Swanee says my husband and I will set a little aside in our estate to go to you when you hit 70. Look at that. Boys, we are killing it tonight. We've got a retirement plan in place. We're looking good now. Thank you, Swanee. A lot of people in chat are a little disappointed because you mentioned a husband. So, but hey, you know, it is what it is. Graham Roberts says, don't feel bad, Jeremy. The wife and I took a pic and someone commented online I was wearing the same shirt I wore when I got engaged. That was 20 years ago. Poor is not exclusive to purview of Alabamians. Yes, exactly, man. I just thought it was funny. I was like, dude, I'm wearing the same shirt. This is crazy. Andrew Sierra says, OMG, the president went to take a shit on work hours. Same energy, 1000%. Donovan says, first time super chat. Check out, is it Sisu? Road to the Revenge trailer. It's the sequel. The first movie is amazing. Hail the 199. Thank you, Donovan 199 in your name. I appreciate that. Hail to you, brother. Let's see. Let me, thank you, Gone Truckin'. I appreciate that. I'm going to go with the Bulls. Okay. Thank you. MAGA Mike says, this is what I meant by bigger fish to fry. We can't lose. I almost said a word. I didn't, but I almost did. I only say that in traffic. Okay. I only say that in traffic. So I'm not racist. I only say it in traffic. All right. Piano Dean says, until ESPN returns, introduce the Canoe channel. 24 hours of uninterrupted canoe. No commentary, no plot, just one canoe gently not going anywhere. If your life needs less propulsion, subscribe now. The current waits for no one. There we have it. Sexy Moon Goddess says, we heard it, Jeremy. Thank you, Piano Dean, for your wonderful insight, which is always appreciated. Ninja Biden. Hiya, here's $2. Isn't that nice? Thank you. I appreciate that. Phil says, did you hear? Oh, wait, hang on. Did you see Star Wars Girl is starting drama with Gary and Az? I did not. I don't pay attention to drama stuff. So the whole thing is with drama online. It's really, if you want to get involved in it, you can. And if you don't, you won't. And so there's a reason I'm never in it, because I don't want to be in it. So So yeah, but anyway, hail Gary and Az. Moto Metal Racers says Trump traded more Qing students in tariff deal. Thank you. Sean Living Life says gaslighting tax. Let's see. Sigmund says, where is my Peckerwood College? Slick Gossip 199. Thank you for becoming a new member. I appreciate that. All right, we got more topics to talk about. And let's get into this stupid Epstein stuff, because right now the Epstein stuff is crazy right now online. It's absolutely crazy. Dan Vance says, I need to start some drama with Jeremy. I've never been in drama. Dan, to be fair, where's that comment at from Dan? If I can find it. Oh, my comment's broken again. My comments are broken again. What is wrong with StreamYards? StreamYards just keeps breaking on me, bro. Dan says he needs to start drama with Jeremy. To be fair, Dan, I don't get involved with drama with females online, so you're not going to be able to start any with me. So go find another woman to talk to. That will be my advice. So StreamYards has broken Jeremy. It is, man. Look, I'm going to play a clip, and by the time I return, I should have it fixed, okay? By the time I return. Let's see if we can get back. I think we could do this in, let's see if we could, what clip can we play? We're going to do the, I can get back within, just give me 26 seconds. I don't think we can do it in 26 seconds. How about, I didn't play this earlier. We'll play this earlier and I'll be back.
Should I do it?
Do not come.
Come on, baby. Come on. I'm going to do it.
Do not come.
I'm going to come. Beautiful white paint. It's coming down at 10,000 miles an hour. It's coming down at levels of speed that nobody ever even conceived of. Where it's rough, but it's coming, and now it's turned around. It turns around, and it's coming, and it's going to, I said, oh, because you see at that bottom, this section right here, that sucker's, oh.
We are back, and it's fixed. Let's go. All right. He said, shit, I broke his stream yard. All right, we're back, and the chat is working again. So there's a laughing man. So now I can highlight the chat again. Yeah, StreamYard sucks, man. They got to fix it. But anyway, this Epstein stuff is kind of out of control right now online. I don't know how much you guys have seen it, but they've been pushing the Epstein stuff like crazy today. And that's just to add into all of the other bullshit that's been going on. The bottom line is, there's no one that actually is paying attention to stuff believes that the Epstein stuff is like legit from the Democratic side. They just don't. Like, at this point, Democrats are pushing this because they have nothing else. Here's Megyn Kelly talking about it.
We'll start with December 15th, Tuesday, December 15th at 8 p.m. And this is from Michael Wolff, the author. He wrote to Epstein. This is when Trump was running for the nomination in December 15th of 2015. He writes, I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in the scrum afterward. And then Epstein responds a couple hours later, if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? And then Michael Wolff responds to him on 12/16, the next day. I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness.
They can't move away from this shit. Like, this is where Trump, I understood, like, when he first started calling it a Democrat hoax, it was like, what are you talking about, dude? But, like, it's clear that's what it is now. Like, they cannot stop pushing these lies. That's all it is.
Which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. Okay, so what does that mean? What my conclusion from this is Michael Wolff is gross. We knew that yesterday. We'll know it tomorrow. And by the way, we'll know it especially tomorrow. And that's all I'm going to say. We have a bit of a tease for what's coming up on this show, making good on a promise I made to the audience long ago on Epstein. But in any event, here he is giving PR advice. I mean, whatever. He's not a good guy. I'm sure Jeffrey Epstein needed PR advice by this point in his life, and I'm sure somebody was going to provide it to him. But that's what Wolff was doing, trying to get leverage over the possible next president of the United States. It all came to nothing, but this has got Trump's critics salivating. And then I'll just read you the last one, which is the most recent exchange. This is now from 2019, which is when Epstein got arrested.
So again, I want to make it clear that the theory here is that Trump, who was the sitting president of the United States when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, is trying to cover up for Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. There's no fucking logic to be found here, dude. There's really none.
This is from Epstein to Michael Wolff, January 31st, 2019. Victim, redacted, Mar-a-Lago. Redact. I don't know what's in there. It doesn't say victim, so he's saying something else. Comma, or period. No idea what was redacted. Then he writes, Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. So he's trying to say Trump wanted me to resign from Mar-a-Lago, but I was never.
I will say this. I'm glad that in the year 2025, after they have thrown literally, and I mean literally every single thing at Trump, I'm glad they finally found these emails that are so damning against Trump. I'm glad they finally tracked them down, guys. Finally got it. They finally did it.
Member of Mar-a-Lago. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Now, that's the most incriminating thing that's in any of these emails, but we have no idea what it means. Of course, he.
Somebody in the chat, I guess this is supposed to be a gotcha on me. Like, how's Kash Patel and the most transparent FBI ever doing? Not good. Got a really weird lawsuit out there with his girlfriend or fiance right now, trying to sue Elijah Schaefer, who I'm not even a big fan of, but it's complete bullshit. So not good at all. So is that okay? Like, did you want me to say it's great? Because it's not. It's not at all.
He knew about the girls. He asked Ghislaine to stop. Stop what? Is this Trump found out that Epstein liked him young, something Trump has said himself on camera, and he went to Ghislaine to say, whatever you're doing, stop? Because that doesn't make Trump look bad.
Yeah.
Though it may be inconsistent with Trump's denials of knowing, much at all about what Epstein was doing. I don't know. I haven't poured through Trump's specifics on that. But this is ambiguous. However, this is kind of what made.
Hang on. The Admiral says, why did Trump take down the statue of him and Epstein? And the reason I responded to this because he has, how many is that? Like 5, 6 question marks to put emphasis on it. So the Admiral, I'm going to call Trump here in just a bit, and I'll find out for you, buddy, because you were very passionate about this, because clearly I know. So I'm going to call Trump, even though I've never spoken with him. I have literally no contact with the administration, but I'm going to find out, because you think that a fucking low IQ grifting retard on YouTube can answer this question. So I'm gonna work on that. I'm glad you're passionate about statues, okay? I'm glad. Jesus. Dude, listen. The fact that I highlighted your comment is probably the best thing that's happened to you in your entire life. Like, this is the most prominent you're going to be, which is not saying a lot. This is it. This is your moment. Put all those question marks, bro. It's not something to be proud of, but enjoy it. I'm the one that's going to get paid for it, but, but it's a great moment for you. But we are now at a point where I will ignore you unless you send me a $50 super chat. Those are the rules. I can't bend on the rule. I've highlighted multiple comments. I've given you so much fame, but at this point, I can't respond to you unless you send me a $50 super chat minimum. Those are the rules. I apologize, but that's just how it works around here.
Let me say, wouldn't it be better for Trump if he just said release it all? I'm not worried about any of this, rather than letting it come out piecemeal. They discovered it from the Epstein estate, and Trump had clearly directed Bondi not to produce anything. Like, if I were a Democrat, to be honest, Batya, I'd be blowing this up and asking over and over again what it means.
It's so interesting because to me, that sounds exactly like something we already knew, which is it's been reported that the reason he asked Epstein to stop coming to Mar-a-Lago was because he would hit on the daughters of the members. Like that was like out there reported. So I don't see how this is incriminating at all. It suggests that Trump, like you said, knew that Jeffrey Epstein liked them young and didn't approve of it. So we don't know when Jeffrey was talking about in that moment. So I don't really see this.
Right.
And honestly, I think Trump's instincts are so spot on about this, because to me, it seems like all of the energy around the Jeffrey Epstein files is really coming from Democrats who hate Trump and hate Trump voters. And then people who
Democrats that hate Trump and hate Trump voters, but also DeSantis people that reluctantly had to support Trump when their pro-DeSantis campaign blew up in their face. And so they reluctantly had to support Trump, but they were always looking for an off-ramp. They were always looking for a reason to go, well, you see, Trump really wasn't good. Ron DeSantis could have actually been a better one. And it's like, that's what's motivating a lot of this.
Are in the content business, for whom before Trump was elected, this was a really big topic. This generated a lot of interest from people. But now that Trump is the president, if you look at public opinion polling of Republicans, they're just not that interested in this. And I think Trump just feels like he can ride this out, and why feed it? Because it's only his enemies making hay out of it. And the mainstream media just does not have that same power that it used to have. Megan, you have all that power now to set the agenda. So I think that's kind of maybe how he's seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, that I understand that rationale. Just for the record, Trump has said he stopped speaking to Epstein because Epstein stole workers from Mar-a-Lago's spa. Now, that is what happened with Virginia Giuffre. Virginia was a worker in the Mar-a-Lago spa, and Jeffrey Epstein did steal her to go work for him. So Trump is saying that's why. He's not leaning into he was sniffing around young girls, and so I told him he had to leave Mar-a-Lago story. There's another story that he broke up with Epstein because they were buds. There's no question they were very close for more than 10 years.
Hey, there we go. Jeremy, just face it, your president is guilty and is going to face true justice. Then what you going to do? You joke and hope like Charlie Kirk you get whacked too. That's the left right there, man. That's the left. There you have it. Never interrupt your enemy when they tell you exactly who they are. Never do it. Virtue signaling, telling us how bad Trump is while you say something like that. There it is. Welcome to the left. Let's continue.
Which is what makes me believe Trump was on the Epstein plane and at Epstein's house. Of course, they were very good friends. But there's another story that Epstein took Trump to go see a property with him that Epstein was thinking of buying out of bankruptcy. And he wanted Trump to advise him on the property. And instead of advising him, Trump bought it. He bought it out from under Epstein. So I don't know why they broke up, but we're having to relive all of this nonsense because there's a number of reasons why, because Trump and several Trump acolytes have made a very big deal out of Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, I don't think you can absolve Trump of that at all.
You can't. And that is a big problem, because when Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who are literally running the FBI, made their name off of, and I know it wasn't primarily the Epstein stuff, but like that was a big part of their online identity, was the Epstein stuff, calling that out. And no matter how much of a Trump supporter you are, like, their interviews about this situation are bad. And I've covered that extensively, but I'm not going to rehash all of that right now, but they're very bad.
All about you. It's like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel were the two top Epstein, theory pushers. I don't call it a conspiracy theory because they might have very well been onto something, that there was a cover up of Epstein. And then that's why it was so shocking when Trump got into power and then said, what story? What are you talking about? This is a nothing burger. Trump had not been out in front on it as the people he hired to run, like the FBI. It's not like we put them in charge of HHS, like the FBI. So that's how Republicans got into this, because it was buried under Biden. They didn't understand why we didn't get any answers. And then they thought when Trump took over, we would. And instead, Trump did what Biden had done, which was there's no there. I'm not releasing anything on this. And some Republicans are still burned by it. MTG spoke with her last week. She's still out there saying, I demand answers on this. I want to see all the files. A couple of other Republicans.
By the way, with MTG, did we hear if Brian Glenn actually made any comments about what Trump said? I didn't follow up with that one, but I am pretty curious about, did he follow up on that? Because let me go to his Twitter account and see if I could type. I know that had to bother him. No, I mean, he's actually still showing support for Trump, which is crazy. So respect to him. I know that had to hurt with Trump calling that out, but his most recent tweet is this right here. Trump did nothing wrong. And this is talking about the topic that we're talking about right here.
But we have to do this. I know folks hate it. We got to do it just because it's news. We let's not be like the other side, okay? Let's just be honest. We have to talk Epstein. We have to. The Epstein emails, the House Democrats released from the House Oversight Committee, I believe. They just drip, 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 trickle these things out. They're trying to attach President Trump to some sort of nefarious activities. Brian, I read it. I'm looking at it. I don't see one thing that ties him to anything. Yeah, did he know Epstein? Of course he did. Guess what? So did Bill Clinton. So did Bill Gates. So did Larry Summers, the former Biden Treasury Secretary. So did a lot of people who knew him. Nothing is accusatory. And Ghislaine Maxwell said he wasn't involved. Gouffre, the girl who killed herself, who was a victim, said Trump wasn't involved. What is with these Democrats, sir? How was that briefing room?
Yeah. Well, the briefing room was pretty tense, and we all knew that this topic would come up, and it was pretty much the first question when it got tossed to the general question session. But think about this: Democrats have sat on this information. This information has been available for years. They could have brought this up.
I'm pretty sure all this stuff was already released anyway. I don't think that I think they just dig this out of like some vault of like tens of thousands of files and pretend that it's new information. And then a lot of stupid people that don't do any research sit there and run with it. Like, I feel like that's what they've done.
In the last presidency for President Trump, but they chose to bring it up now. Now, out of the 60,000 plus pages, they plucked out three, kind of cherry plucked, if you will, 3 emails, one of which is a deceased woman, one of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, who under oath said that Trump had nothing to do with the abuse of these women or had any type of inappropriate relationships with.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of wanted to hear what he had to say. I want to finish up with their. I'm not going to listen to all of their stuff, but I wanted to get back. I just wanted to see if he's been talking about what happened with Trump calling out Marjorie Taylor Greene the other day.
Republicans are with her, like Massey and some others. But you're right. The reason that Republicans have lost interest for the most part in this,
That is true. She just brought up Massey. Remember when Massey had this? Thomas Massey pulled like all these Epstein victims. Do you remember that? They had a press conference not too long ago. There's been no follow-up with that at all. None.
is because the Democrats took it as the.
Is Trump going to sign? Let me see if I don't want to miss that. So let me see if we're live anywhere for Trump to sign this. All right, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this.
Really, no separation post World War II. And
all right, so Trump is getting ready to sign to reopen the government. So I will keep you guys posted on that. We'll get back to the story. But yeah, Massey had like that whole thing where him and somebody else, and they did this like a photo op press conference with all these Epstein victims and all of that. So Fox is saying any minute now. All right, any minute now. First of all, thank you to everyone for being here. I appreciate it. Yes, I'm rocking the Star Wars hat. Feels weird. Victory Lap incoming, says MAGA Mike. Well, while we're waiting, in the pinned post, you can go and get the new merch we have available right now through Ripasend. Go over there. The one that Wood 99 hoodie is badass. All right. IDOT hat, which also has the Geeks and Gamers logo on the side. And then the 199 Cultural Task Force t-shirt in the pinned post. It's available till November 25th, so make sure you check it out. Okay, let's see where we're at. All right, let's see. All right, let me see what you guys were talking about earlier. While we're waiting for this, because somebody had brought up like that Star Wars girl calling out Gary or something like that. Let's see what you guys are talking about here. Let's see. So this is clip. I'm not going to listen to this. So she tweeted out a clip. Hey guys, did you hear Anna was crying for an hour? Instead of checking her to see if she's okay, let's smugly gossip about it instead. It doesn't look like the comments are going very well for her. People are like, what are you talking about smugly? Okay. Well, comment section is not being very kind to her. I haven't listened to the clip, but it's just, I have no idea.
Johnson will go down, I believe, in history as perhaps one of the greatest deal makers, but also power.
One thing I'd say, like, obviously I know Gary and Az and Mahler, they are not gossipers. So like, I don't really, again, I have not listened to the clip, but that's not what they do. So
years, and then mostly go into consulting or doing this fun stuff that I have the privilege of doing, speaking from behind a microphone or giving their opinion on countless different items. But many of them lost their speakerships because they could not handle the job. They could not do the due diligence of getting the Republican agenda fully over the finish line. Speaker Mike Johnson is doing that on a daily basis with a House Republican team that is united. And it's a surprise to the Democrats because the way they act on Capitol Hill, it's you must be in.
Someone super chatted and they barely addressed the thing. That sounds about how we have to handle it, you know, when people super chat us this stuff and try to, you know, because again, as a streamer, like, you know, that like, you know, people are always super chatting you, trying to pull you into other drama and stuff like that. It happens all the time to me. Well, it used to. It doesn't really happen to me anymore because they can't really get me pulled into it. So, you know, the only drama I've been in is when Josh from Den of Nerds, but that was active. Like, I wanted to roast him. By the way, Josh from Den of Nerds, you know, you had your $500 to you know, get you know, on a stream or something like that. Well, Willie Will sent me a $500 super chat here. So shout out to you, buddy. Shout out to Josh from Den of Nerds. I got a $500 super chat. One super chat from Willie freaking Will. Hail to them. Hail to you.
In the speaker's office, undisclosed at times, discussing different legislation. But we saw how weak John Boehner was and would cave to Democrats on countless different.
Jack Murphy was a meme, not drama. Well, I didn't know Jack Murphy, but dude, that was some good grifting, man. That's what started CobraCast. Jack Murphy and Eliza Blue.
The moans and the yells and the screams of certain progressive members on the House side of Capitol Hill. So this is a great success of House Speaker Mike Johnson and the House Republican leadership team. For those right, left, and center who say otherwise, they really just do not know what they're talking about. And our kudos to
So any minute now,
Speaker
apparently,
Mike Johnson
any minute
on
now.
what is a very successful evening to reopen the government, to get those people the much needed relief that they deserve, whether it's these welfare benefits to SNAP benefits. You also have to ask the question, are too many people on these government welfare and programs? We can have that debate for another day, as you do not want to see Americans suffer, especially those who work for the federal government, the TSA agents, to the military, those who showed up for work without receiving those paychecks in many situations because of the affordability of the United States in countless different arenas. Some of the people not going with pay for some time now. So it's good to see that.
I just wanted to keep it going, but I don't want to just listen to him talk. So I was just trying to see if we could capture the moment where they go live. So we're just going to, I'm going to look at the chat and read chat while we're doing this. Carrie Malone says that Trump, they are very fine statues on both sides. Let's see. Lofty Pixels Prolapsed PP. What the hell name is this? What? Rosalina. I don't know what you're trying to say. I saw the Lofty Pixels and I was like, hang on, I'm going to keep. And I was like, what is happening? The at names are pretty weird. But you're talking about Rosalina, Palatine, Super Princess Galaxy announcement. The trailer gives off Netflix Witcher vibes, where the namesake is sidelined for girl boss protagonist. I don't think that you're wrong on that take, but at the same time, Rosalina is a pretty awesome character in the Super Mario Galaxy game. And she's not really in the action or anything per se, but you can make an argument that first movie had a little bit too much of that too. I still enjoyed the first movie, but you can absolutely make that argument. But at the end of the day, the glaring sign of the Mario movie, the first one, was that the critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a negative score and the fans gave it like a 95%. So, Beckinator Play says, Dims, we got him now. The emails, he's telling Ghislaine to stop peddling girls. Yeah, man, these guys, like, they're desperate for anything, man. Let's see, JDT199 says, like you, I have avoided this subject till recently, but I'm becoming more aware and worried about Israel influence on our government. Weird times, but the more I look into it, the more it's hard to deny or ignore. Well, I mean, like I said, I think that the problem is not that there's a problem, because I think that there is. The people that are most passionate about the problem are literally the most annoying people in the world to fucking talk to. The people that have hyper focused on this on the internet are the most annoying group of people you will ever interact with, because they only see Israel bad every fucking where they look. So there's no real conversation to be had with them to learn anything, because they just screech. And you're like, hey, I'd like to learn about this. And the moment that you say one thing that they don't like, they freak out and they claim that you're a Mossad agent. Like, that's how they are. It's fucking crazy. So, unfortunately, much like Rick and Morty fans, I don't fucking care about your cause, because you're so fucking annoying that you've made me not care about it. And that is the exact example. Rick and Morty fans were so fucking obnoxious back in the day that it made me not give a fuck about what they were talking about. And that's the anti-Israel crowd right there. They're so damn annoying that I don't care about what they're talking about. And again, that's on them. But yeah, Rick and Morty fans, man, that was their entire draw. That's like their existence. And it was just like, hey, you should watch Rick and Morty. I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out. No, you should do it now. I'm like, dude, like, back the fuck off me. I got a job. I got a family. I'll get to it. And they're like, no, you need to do it now. I mean, they would go crazy on you. I'm like, all right, you guys are annoying. I don't like you. Leave me alone. MAGA Mike says Trump has pulled funding from woke universities, to be frank. He has. Phil for 50 says, Phil McCracken says, can we get some turnaround girl as a closer? I like your thinking. I like it. Arclight said, and to this day, Jeremy has not watched it. No, I will never watch Rick and Morty on principle of the fucking idiots that cried about it. And that's why with the anti-Israel people, I intentionally I just like to meme them because I get more entertainment out of that than anything because they're just so fucking obnoxious and retarded. So that they have no ability to have a conversation like an adult or a person with a logical take. They just screech and cry and blame everyone. NPC Hero says, how many of these foreign students are going to attempt to transfer to better colleges after getting placed in the shitty ones that need saving? That's true. Sean Living Life says, get in that ass tax. Thank you. Ministry of Wrong Thing says, handout 199. Cario says, H1B Carlos tax. Muslim Wasp says, you don't need this. I don't, but I appreciate it. Gomez says, what happened to the Geeks and Gamers compound? Want to be Timmy? I shut it down after a year because it just was, it worked good. Everybody got along good, but, I still had, everything here in, my Panhandle area. So I was, I had my family back here. It was just too much for me going back and forth. But getting set up again. I don't want to do a content house, but we're trying to do something else for sure. Vault 95 says, Jeremy charges me taxes to be here. Worth it. Hell yeah. Kate Banfield says, grifting super chat tax. Liza Tommy, did I say that right? Sponging off the government tax. Eric K says, I refuse to super chat. Jeremy, Mod Lives Matter. Act Natural says, get a job, Carlos. Master Smith says, relying on super chat handouts greater than relying on government handouts. Keep friggin' it up, Jeremy. That's what's up right there. Let's see. Master MK says, Jeremy heel turn to D-Day Karen on G&G Daily today like Hogan did on the NWA. You know what's better about that? Everyone's mad at me. And no one's mad at those guys now. Welcome to leadership. Dark Red Knight says, you mean to tell me Jeremy takes our super chat money? I thought it was going to AIDS research for gays. Clone Trooper 199 says, send Josh 50%. He was promised it 3,000 years ago. Sleepy says, how do I get super chats without having the stream? Kevin Cross says, Jeremy only fixed up one side of the room tax, handouts tax, and grift tax. There we go, right there. Lord Botha says, Patrick X-Wing about to tell us it's been a long year. Shorty Short says, brevity is not his strength. Twisted Clown says, Nadler waiting on a menu. Twisted Clown says, Gary, and he says, carrot. Minister of Wrong Thing says, I unironically just used to use that list to find another creator to watch. Thanks, insufferable. That's what happens when they do that. They do it. It's amazing. Crimson Queen says, since you rely on super chats, have $2. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ministry of Wrong Thing says, adios, Carlos. Slick Gossip says, deport Juan tax. VJ the Vigilant says, YouTube's H1B hires must be mad at Jeremy. Sean Living Life says, leave and come right back tax. All right. Oh, I was like, what's Trump doing at a rally? So they're going to a commercial right now. Be Good Broadcast says, peace out, y'all. Where you going? We got Trump about to be live. Raging Wolf says, paying my tax, paying my Jeremy is gay H-1B government tax. 50-year-old Jeremy Griggs says, Jeremy is the new Dark Side Phil. DSP with subs. Dude, I got to pull up that clip of Dark Side Phil the other day that Yeet tweeted out. That shit was funny as hell, bro. Like, DSP was, like, going off on his chat. It was so funny. I got to find it. I don't know how far back it is. Is this it? No. Oh, dude, it was so funny. He was just like going off. It was the greatest thing ever. He was mad at his kick chat. He was so mad at his kick chat. It was so great. I'm scrolling. Yeet has been tweeting a lot, so I don't know how far back this one goes. Jesus, hang on. Maybe I missed it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh my gosh, dude. This is so great. This is the greatest. I got my eye on the other video, so I will cut in if Trump pops in.
Get some more support if we're going to do that. Number two, over on Kick, we've got one person who supported all night, your future stepdad, and it was one sub. So
the guy's name was your future stepdad.
from now on, I'm going to be very abundantly clear with all of you on Kick. Don't ever ask anything of me ever again. Don't ask for me to add you messages, new emotes, pop-ups, nothing. Because until people on Kick actually support the content, you get nothing. The YouTube side, you guys have been incredibly supportive and nice people. But the Kick side just sits here whining, bitching, complaining about things, wanting more, and doesn't support. So you get nothing. Okay? Unless we get 50 subs by the end of tonight, now it will be 49, you're never getting text messages in your moral support ever again. So you got an hour left. Get to it. Or shut the fuck up forever. We're not going to listen to your bitching anymore. A lot of whiny people, demanding people who don't reciprocate. Okay. All right.
That's amazing, dude. Woo!
And Senator from
good old DSP, man. DSP, he is the gift that keeps on giving, dude. It is amazing. 8 o'clock says, did Baraka have a $500 guest fee? Freaking 8 o'clock. Oh, man. DSP is the best. I'm a late bloomer to DSP stuff because it's just like, I think Memology has like a DSP channel called DSP Tries It. It's amazing. Gundam Wing Zero says, we are iDots. Yes, we are. Donovan says, Donovan199 becomes a new member. Thank you. Teresa Young says, going strong with the 199. Hail. It's been a long year, says, to borrow a phrase from Rocky IV about colleges, if they live, they live. Olympian Products is a FMK for you. Sydney Sweeney, APL, the nice lady who teaches us turnarounds. Bro, you can't do this. You can't do this. You can't. I'm gonna M Anna Paulina Luna. And I'm gonna hook up with Sydney, and we'll just leave it there. Whew. Nips Litter says, Jeremy social justice weirdos online get triggered over you in the thumbnail, even when you're not in the video. That's what I've been working for my whole life. That's what I've been working for my whole life. Right there. Trail Rush says, remember the movie Secret of My Success? MJF turned it down during interview and asked, why did I go to college? The response, you had fun, didn't you? Brian Stewart says, aren't you supposed to be on the gaming stream now? thought I was probably going to run late because I knew I had so much to talk about tonight. So I knew I probably wasn't going to make it. Motivation says, how do I pay you an XRP? Fantastic Knox says, again, why the ones complain about losing Snap? I'm bragging about stealing groceries are fat and speak eugenics. Give me my Snap or I'm a finna steal. I'm finna steal, bro. Elite Neo 450 says, oh, thank God. That was a different clip of DSP you pulled up. Thought you said you pulled up the clip of DSP. You were about to pull up the more infamous one. And I was sending this in hopes of getting you to stop. Oh, well, no harm, no foul. I was not pulling that one up. No. I was not pulling that one up. Do not worry. There was no chance of that one. Don't worry. I unfortunately, I've seen that one one too many times. But God, it's such a bad clip, dude. It's the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing ever. Like, what are you doing, man? What is wrong with you? Tough. That's tough. Thank you, Elite Neo. Hail to you, brother. Camera's still on, huh? Yeah, it was. Unfortunately. Let me see right here. I wanted to talk about that. I just don't know if I'll get time. I did make a video for Geeks and Gamers about Brie Larson. I'm going to be uploading that soon. So that'll be exciting. Let's see. Massage Agent says, don't scan me, bro. Don't scan me. Right, the guy says, I'd buy that hat, but I live in Idaho, and people would keep asking me if I'm a big fan of the Idaho Department of Transportation. That's pretty awesome. Kratos says, did you see the John Cleese tweet today mocking the unknown soldier? He deleted it, but I figured you'd want to talk about it. Got it screen capped. DM me on that one. I didn't see that one. DM me. Olympian Product says there's a furry running for Congress in Michigan. Not gonna lie, it'd be hilarious if he wins. God, that's scary as shit. That's scary. Modalish says Democrats once again snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Mod Eric says, why are they bringing this up again? Cash Patel already said that the Epstein Island was just a place for young kids to meet business and world leaders. Green says, Jeremy, Megan had a great interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene. You should watch it if you haven't already. It gives more context on where she actually stands. I will check it out. I know she did it. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So are we getting, is this happening? We're just kind of waiting right now. I don't want to turn, I'm going to see if there's another feed that might be live. I mean, they're going to cut into the feed as soon as it happens, but let's see. Trump live. Is Fox News live maybe? Or the White House? I'm sure the White House is live, right? The White House is live. Okay, perfect. So we'll just go to the White House. They've got their feed right there. So we will just do that. So here we go. Got the volume turned up. So whenever it kicks in, we will be good to go. Objectively, a cat says, why did Beardo remove the Dr. Disrespect statue? Beckinator Plays says, is the Admiral a DeSantis voter? Oh, the guy with Rosen. I 100% would probably think no. I would think we know who the Admiral watches. Ministry of All Things says, death threat tax. Andrew Sierra says, Linton on the EBT talking crap is the most hilarious thing. It can't even change the ceiling bulb batteries. Ministry of Wrong Things says Trump literally went to the FBI to rat out Epstein. No fucking he knew. That's how Epstein got arrested. For fuck's sake, Trump is in the files as a witness. Official Chris says, have you heard the rumor that Disney is restoring the original unaltered Star Wars movies to release in theaters and Blu-ray in 2027 for the 50th? I haven't. And I don't believe that, but I mean, I haven't heard it, but I would love if it was true, but I just don't. I don't think that that's true. It would be cool, but I don't believe that's true. Maximus BT says, where are my breeds at? Burb Shit says, daddy chill tax. MAGA Mike says, a cool headline nobody is talking about. Immigration population goes down for the first time in decades, New York Times. Yeah, I brought that up earlier. I brought that up earlier today. So Let's see. He 8 o'clock says, sad I have to ask King Grifter, but is there a way for the Die Hard is not a Christmas movie people to prove it to Epic Mike 199? Hang on. Sad I have to ask the King Grifter, but is there a way for the Die Hard is not a Christmas movie people to prove it to Epic Mike 199? The problem is Epic Mike is black. Oh, but just in general, not about Die Hard, but I just talk about it in general. That's the problem. I didn't, sorry. I was thinking out loud. Sorry about that. I didn't, sometimes you just say things online. Sorry about that. Modalicious says that Jerry Nadler is a frumpy turtle. He looks like Filbert from Rocco's Modern Life. I didn't realize that's a mess. Oh, freaking hell, man. Good stuff indeed. Indeed. Liberty Prize, shout out to Raw Phil. Best DSP troll channel. Really? Okay. Noted. I'll have to take a look at that one. TJ says, I can't believe I've been watching this ridiculous show since the very first episode. Feels like a lifetime. 199. Let's go, brother. Great Tank says, I grew up in East Point town of the bridge to St. George Island. Have you ever been there, or Apalachicola? I have been to Apalachicola. St. George Island, I don't know if I've been there. I've been through Apalachicola, though. Really old movies just probably get this a lot, but how do you feel with Trump now versus a year ago? Crazy to think how much has happened. I still like him, but it's different. I think that, listen, man, I am very big on perspective, having the proper perspective. Donald Trump is the single most influential human being on the planet. He creates emotions from every person, positive, negative, indifferent, whatever. Like people are always reacting to him no matter what. He does more than anybody in his position has ever done. He's handling things that people in his position have never thought about. And you're bound to have missteps, and those missteps are going to be blown so far out of proportion because it's Trump, because everything he does is blown out of proportion, positively or negatively. Everything he does, every move he makes creates the biggest news story, period. And so I think that I'm very happy with his presidency a year in. And I think that it's very unfair to him to make a judgment on his presidency at 1 year in when he is handling so many different things. However, the criticism of him is absolutely valid, especially on the H-1B stuff, especially on the Chinese student stuff. And I think that there's some valid criticism on the Epstein stuff about how his administration has handled it. But, ultimately, yeah, it hasn't even been a year. You're correct about that. It hasn't even been a year. I was thinking about election day, but, he still has another couple of months before it's actually a year. So I think that, we are in the first chapter of his second run. We're early on. He's accomplished an insane amount of stuff, predominantly overseas with foreign policy, but a lot of that foreign policy does carry over to what he's trying to do domestically. It just does. And he even made that point. So it does feel like shoring up everything else. I can't hear anything.
Important what has taken place, because we've seen how good government can be and how bad government can be if people don't know what. The United States and an attempt to extort
good?
American taxpayers for hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal aliens and people that came into our country illegally.
I'll mute.
From gangs, from prisons, from mental institutions. They wanted to pay them $1.5 trillion, which would have raised Democrats in Congress, shut down the government of the United States and an attempt to extort American taxpayers for hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal aliens and people that came into our country illegally, from gangs, from prisons, from mental institutions. They wanted to pay them $1.5 trillion, which would have really hurt our healthcare businesses and our recipients at levels never seen before. Today, we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort. The Democrats tried to extort our country. In just a moment, I'll sign a bill exactly like we asked Democrats to send us all along, many days ago. This cost the country $1.5 trillion, this little excursion that they took us on. Republicans never wanted a shutdown and voted 15 times for a clean continuation of funding. There's never been a time when one or the other party ever didn't sign a continuation. It's just a continuation, not a big deal. It's a continuation, and we'll talk later. Yet the extremists in the other party insisted on creating the longest government shutdown in American history, and they did it purely for political reasons. I want to thank Speaker Mike Johnson, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, as well as House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, Majority Whip Tom Emmer, and numerous other great Republican leaders and congressmen and senators who are here and frankly spent a long time in Washington getting this thing to go away. I also want to thank the broad coalition of Americans that stood with us in this fight to reopen government, including the Teamsters, the American Federation of Government Employees, the Fraternal Order of Police, AMVETS, the National Small Business Association, the American Farm Bureau, the American Trucking Association. These are all incredible patriots. The Airlines for America, the Allied Pilots Association, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, and many, many others, unions and non-unions. Over the past 7 weeks, the Democrats' shutdown has inflicted massive harm. They caused 20,000 flights to be canceled or delayed. They departed so many times, so late. People were hurt so badly. Nobody's ever seen anything like this one. This was a no-brainer. This was an easy extension. But they didn't want to do it the easy way. They had to do it the hard way. And they look very bad, the Democrats do. They deprived more than 1 million government workers from their paychecks and cut off food stamp benefits for millions and millions more Americans in need. They caused tens of thousands of federal contractors and small businesses to go unpaid, and the total effect of the damage their antics caused will take weeks and probably months to really calculate accurately, including the serious harm that they did to our economy and to people and to families. So I just want to tell the American people, you should not forget this. When we come up to midterms and other things, don't forget what they've done to our country. I also want to call for a termination to the filibuster so that this can never happen again. If we had the filibuster terminated, this would never happen again. And don't forget, we have another date coming up in the not too distant future. We can never let this happen again. And we should be able to pass great, really great legislation. So I say terminate the filibuster because, by the way, the Democrats will do it immediately if they ever assumed office, which hopefully they won't. Today, we had the highest stock market price ever in all of the different markets. We set a record. It's the 48th time in the 9 months that I've been in office that we had this record set. So think of that, 48 times we had a record set, but today is the highest of them all. We're going to break new grounds. Nobody would have thought. I have with us not only the great political leaders, but the great business leaders of our country. They're standing right behind me and right really alongside of me. And if we would have told them a year ago that we'd be having stock prices this high, none of them, in fact, I just asked them that question, none of them would have believed it. And that inures to jobs and, very importantly, to 401ks, which have also set a record today, a record high for the people that have 401ks. And also, I want to thank Walmart because they came up with a fantastic study. It was the cost of Thanksgiving coming up and the cost of Thanksgiving from a year ago under Sleepy Joe Biden. And we're 25% lower this year than we were a year ago. And it's a very inclusive report. So I want to thank Walmart. They've done it for many years, but We believe in that. We believe in that company. I want to also thank the 8 Senate Democrats who finally did the right thing in voting to end this craziness, this madness. But unfortunately, the vast majority of congressional Democrats were happy for millions of Americans to suffer. They really did suffer too. And the Democrats admitted, they said, well, no, we finally have a point. Even though people have to suffer, we finally have a point. And that didn't work out too well for them. But they really went out and they could appease the fringe benefits of their far left base. But that didn't work out because now their far left base is angrier than ever before. We actually elected a mayor of New York City who happens to be a communist. When was that going to happen? Remember, I said all the time during my campaign, we will never be a socialist country. And that's right. We turned out to have a communist in New York City. And if you look at his views, those are the views of a communist, not a socialist. So this is no way to run a country. I hope we can all agree that the government should never be shut down again, end the filibuster, terminate the filibuster. It'll never happen again. So with my signature, the federal government will now resume normal operations, and my administration and our partners in Congress will continue our work to lower the cost of living, restore public safety, grow our economy, and make America affordable again for all Americans. Again, costs are way down. Energy is way down. Gasoline is at $2.50 a gallon versus $4.70 for the Democrats. And we think we're going to hit pretty close to $2 a gallon. That's like a really massive tax cut. It's the equivalent of that. And speaking of tax cuts, our great, big, beautiful bill is giving everybody in our economy, middle income workers, low income, everybody, the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. And it's no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and very importantly, no tax on overtime. You work overtime, there's no tax. That's among the things that add up to the biggest tax cut in history. One other thing, you hear about rich people with deductions. Well, when you buy your car and you borrow money, you're allowed to now deduct the interest on that loan. So you can take that interest deduction and what you can take is that interest payment and deduct it for income tax purposes. That's a tremendous tax cut right there. But it all includes fixing the healthcare system that Democrats broke with the disaster known as Obamacare. Obamacare was a disaster from day one. It's done nothing but go up. And if you remember President Barack Hussein Obama, when he came up with this crazy idea, he said, everything's going to be great. Rates are going to go down. Payments are going to go down. Everything's going to go down. It went the exact opposite, with the biggest increase of healthcare in any country. It's a disaster. And I'm calling today for insurance companies not to be paid, but for the money, this massive amount of money, to be paid directly to the people of our country so that they can buy their own healthcare, which will be far better and far less expensive than the disaster known as Obamacare. And I've had, I think, great support. I've even had Democrat support. So we want the money that would be going to the insurance company, which is hundreds of billions of dollars. Their stock prices have gone up by 1,000% in many cases, 1,000% over a short period of time, because our country stupidly pays them so much money with this Obamacare scandal. So I want the money to go directly to you, the people. And you'll go out and you'll buy your own health insurance and you'll negotiate different plans and you'll get much better insurance and you will be an entrepreneur for yourself. So I'm always willing to work with anyone, including the other party. We'll work on something having to do with healthcare. We can do a lot better. We can do great. So much money is involved, and we're willing to pay so much money to the people. So we're going to pay a lot of money to the people. They're going to go out and buy their own healthcare, and we're going to forget this Obamacare madness. So with all of that, I just want to tell you the country has never been in better shape. We went through this short-term disaster with the Democrats because they thought it would be good politically. And it's an honor now to sign this incredible bill and get our country working again. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if you have questions. I think we really have a.
He knows they got questions.
We have a country that we love, and we have a country that's in great shape. As you know, we have over $18 trillion invested in our country by other people and countries. That's a record. There's never been a country that had so much, and that money's going into also building new auto plants, new AI plants, new everything. We've never had a time like this. Thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate it.
He shut him out.
Thank you very much.
He ain't got time for y'all.
What a great day. It's a great day. Well done, Mr. President. Great job. Thanks for guiding us.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I'll talk a little low until you can, because I know some of you got to bump your volumes back down. But there you have it. So yeah. Trump. Government is back opened. The Democrat shutdown is completely over now. So Flag Ninja says, I'm hungry right now. What's better for breakfast, bacon or sausage? Listen, man, I didn't think we were going to get into any heavy topics tonight. So Flag Ninja, you're going to have to prepare me before we get into any real, like, tough topics. This is a very tough topic. I like to keep things lighter, talking about, you know, the Civil War going on and all of that. And, you know, but here we go. Fuck. Like, okay, so the answer is weird, okay? Because I prefer bacon over sausage. But for breakfast, I prefer sausage. Does that make sense? That's the way I look at it. That's going to be my answer. Bacon's always the answer. But if it's for breakfast, and I don't eat a lot of breakfast, by the way. I don't eat breakfast, but I like breakfast food in the afternoon. So if we're actually, because you classified this as breakfast. So if I'm eating breakfast food in the afternoon, it's always bacon. Always. So that's it. But let's keep the divisive topics to a minimum here on CobraCast. We try to stay away from any topics that are going to get anyone triggered. We don't want anyone to get emotionally unstable. We don't want any of that, okay? We want to stay away from tough topics, okay? These are tough topics. So, checking out says Chinese students could have been part of tariff negotiations. MAGA Mike says Trump is taking a massive dub with this. That's why the meaningless nothing burger email came out today. MAGA. Agreed. Is that Zwani? I'm not reading that. I'm not reading that for a member message. The fuck are we doing? You can't make me read that. And I reject everything you said, by the way. We don't want that shit in our chat. What are we doing here? Packy Proton says, isn't Mr. Trump just parroting what Elon said about H-1B visas before they're split? Kind of odd now he changes his mind. Well, again, I mean, Elon stepped in it with that one. I don't know if I would say Trump is parroting what he said, but they certainly are on the same page. Kritosa says, I sent the John Cleese screen cap to you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Jared the American says, Jeremy prefers sausage 24/7. If you know, you know. 8 o'clock says, as long as we agree, never turkey for breakfast. No, not for breakfast. I'm not about that life. I'm not about that life at all. Okay, let's finish where we left off right here. Danky, you got to clip all this in. You got to pick back up, all right? Because I paused this to go over to that. So you got to splice all this together, Danky.
Their own, like they do with everything, went too far. It changed from like a genuine search for truth, which I think Republicans really wanted, into just a political weapon to try to bring Trump down, which is what they do with everything. And Republicans are fucking over that game.
Hey, an F-bomb.
Definitely. And I think that press conference, was it 2 months ago, 3 months ago, where you had Ro Khanna
with the alleged victims?
Yeah, and Thomas Massey.
That's it right there, Ro Khanna. That's it.
it was it was so sordid, and the promise of salacious details, and then the women saying, actually, we're going to make our own list. Like the whole thing was so.
That's right. Those chicks did say they were going to make their own list. Oh, it was so cringe. Remember that? I criticized that. I'm like, dude, all these women are like, we're going to make our own list. And it's like, but if you have a list of powerful men right now that are abusing women, why wouldn't you give the list right now? What are we doing?
Yeah.
After the
Where's that?
Exactly. And it just seemed like, there was a lot like obvious money grubbing, obvious, coming together of the two sides because both sides see themselves as Trump's political opponents and enemies. The politicization, the money aspect of it, these women who were grown-ups when they met Jeffrey Epstein talking about themselves like they were children at the time. To me, that's really off-putting. It's kind of a slap in the face to the actual victim.
It's kind of like, if you remember, so the story surrounding Vincent Kennedy McMahon, that whole thing about how he abused that woman. That woman is now like, I don't know how old she is now. She's like in her 40s or 50s or something. Maybe she's maybe older than that. But the woman that accused Vince McMahon of whatever it was, something inappropriate, sexual inappropriate, whatever. They used a picture of her when she was like really young in all of the press releases. They used all of the young pictures of this person and not current pictures, because they were trying to build a public narrative. Now, again, Vince McMahon is a crazy lunatic, so I'm not here to advocate for the innocence of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, but the media always tries to manipulate and spin all the time. You guys are happy with that pause, aren't you? Well, I'll read some super chats. Packy Proton says, the endless debate, colored or white Christmas lights. There's a lot of jokes. There's a lot of jokes. There's a lot of jokes, but I'm not going to answer it the way I want to because it can be clipped and it will be very bad. So I will just say I prefer white Christmas lights, and I'll just leave it at that. So there you have it. Swanee for 50 says to read it. Swanee said Beardo is still hot or something like that. Fuck, it's terrible. Why are you guys doing this to me? Why? Dark Schwartz Rising for $20 and says nothing. JJ Killer says, hey, Jeremy, I disagree with Trump and want as little people coming in for school and work as possible. But for school, what if America profited off of it? Say foreigners have to pay 3 times the price for universities. I mean, I like that idea, actually. I like that idea a lot. So, listen, at the end of the day, we would make a lot more money if we just made fat, lazy, ugly people work. I'm not really worried about making money off of foreigners. I'm worried about making fat, ugly, lazy people work instead of getting handouts. Plus, I don't even know what the going rate for foreigners is anyway. Maybe they already pay more of a premium for all I know. I don't really know how it works. But that's really irrelevant to it doesn't change the problems in this country. Making foreigners pay more or more than they already do or whatever, I don't know. But it doesn't solve the problem. Solving the problem is making fat, ugly, lazy people work instead of making money from the government. So, all right, let's continue.
The Virginia Giuffre aspect where there was just lie upon lie upon lie. Like the idea that this is kind of something that's going to bring Trump down with his own base, with the other side. I just find it to be all so sordid.
Moreover, Jeffrey Epstein, there are countless numbers of women, young women, who were brought into his houses and to his island and paid for, quote, a massage with a happy ending. for lack of a better term. I mean, countless
The fact that Megyn Kelly is talking about that is crazy.
numbers of women. And he did like them young. And there were several young women who he did this to who were minors, who were underage. There's just no question about that. That is a true fact about Jeffrey Epstein. But that is not a true fact about Donald Trump. And if Donald Trump allegedly liked the barely legal type, we would know,
Yes.
Batya. We would know. We know virtually everything about the man's sex life, unfortunately. And
Didn't need that image.
we would know if he had a penchant for the super young girls at this point. Like, he ran the Miss Universe contest. Like, yes, we heard a story about him possibly going backstage into the dressing room at least once. Not great, not particularly shocking given how Trump was when he was younger, but we have not seen some slew of young women come forward to say, me too, on Donald Trump molesting them or having paid for sex with them when they were barely legal or otherwise. It just hasn't happened.
Yeah, in fact, at that same press conference, the lawyer for a group of the women actually said Jeffrey Epstein would prey upon women when they were underage, true and disgusting and horrible. And then the lawyer said, and when they came of age and he was no longer interested in them, he would then pass them on. So there was no pedophilia ring. There was a pedophile who did unspeakable things to vulnerable girls. And then they would age out of Jeffrey Epstein's pedophilic interests, at which point he would then start to pass them around to his friends, meaning that there were not actual crimes committed by anybody beyond. There's no pedophile ring. There's a pedophile and then a bunch of friends who were getting massages at that point.
Hold on. I was with her until she completely contradicted her point. Like, you completely you saying, again, she's saying he was molesting them and then he would pass them off to his friends, and that proves that there was no ring. What? I got to hear that one again. That was a wild take, because the reason I say I was with her was, it's like, I do think that a lot of the Epstein list stuff is kind of like blown out of proportion, but like what she is describing is literally a ring. It's literally a ring.
Molesting them or having paid for sex with them when they were barely legal or otherwise. It just hasn't happened.
Yeah, in fact, at that same press conference, the lawyer for a group of the women actually said Jeffrey Epstein would prey upon women when they were underage, true and disgusting and horrible. And then the lawyer said, and when they came of age and he was no longer interested in them, he would then pass them on. So
yeah, but that's still not good. That's still objectively terrible, that you've abused a young girl until she's of age, and then she's an abused, traumatized adult at that point that's been abused for years by a sick freak, and he's passed them off to other sick freaks to continue to take advantage of the damage that he created. If that's in fact what happened, I'm just using the story she's saying, but this is not a good scenario at all. She's saying the lawyer said this, but her logic is like, that's not a ring. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Kinda. Yeah, it is.
there was no pedophilia ring. There was a pedophile who did unspeakable things to vulnerable girls. And then they would age out of Jeffrey Epstein's pedophilic interests, at which point he would then start to pass them around to his friends, meaning that there were not actual crimes committed by anybody beyond. There's no pedophile ring. There's a pedophile and then a bunch of friends who were getting massages at that point from women who were no longer underage. This is from the lawyer at that point.
Yeah, but like, okay, and she's saying it's from the lawyer. So again, I'm trying to be as understanding of her point as I can. But that's still not, there's nothing good about that scenario. So you essentially got in the what she's saying that the lawyer said is that you got a bunch of abused girls that have been traumatized and abused for years while they were a child. And as they go into an adulthood, he then passes them off to other of his powerful, influential friends with all of these damaged girls. And that's not a ring? That's weird, man. That's a weird take. Unless I'm missing something there, that's a weird take.
Press conference. So I think that kind of dispels a lot of the like salaciousness of the story. People are like, where is the justice for the victims? The justice is one of the people who did unspeakable things to them died in prison, and the other one is still in prison. So like they got their justice. And the whole ring idea, I think, has been wildly blown out of proportion for these political reasons.
I don't know about ring, but there are definitely a couple of very well-connected people who have not been brought to justice. I'm not going to repeat the names here, but one of them is a very, very successful.
Why is she acting like she doesn't know who the names are? We know exactly the names. We know exactly the names.
Successful business owner. No, I don't want to get sued, but one of them is a hugely successful business owner who seems to be a bit of a pervert, and his name is all over the papers. His connections to Epstein are very, very well known. They were connected financially. They were connected as friends. And I want to know more about him. There's plenty who I want to know more about who have been publicly linked to Epstein and seem to have dodged responsibility. That's my own take on it. It's not that I'm not referring to secret names only I know. I'm talking about names that are in the paper. But again, like without hardcore proof, you shouldn't say their names because you don't know whether it's true. But people know the names. We've heard them many, many times. Anyway, I do think there are some who are so well connected or did such a good job of hiding their tracks that they'll never be facing real charges. As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen type.
This is a weird conversation.
That could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed. And that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn. Now they call it child sexual abuse material on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh no, he was an actual pedophile.
Dude, I mean, like, this is playing off of what we heard from Tim Tebow earlier, where he's talking about all of these freaks with their IP addresses traced back to CP and all of that. Like, it's a sick world, man. It's a sick, sick, sick world. There's a lot of, like, my advice is just be very careful about who you interact with and who you, it's wild, man. Like, it's fucking crazy. It really is. The paranoid survive. That's all I'm saying. The paranoid survive. The racist and the sexist survive. Seriously. The more racist and sexist you are, the better shape you are in today's world.
I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10, I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. You know, it's just whatever. It's sick.
I can't believe, like, I'm uncomfortable listening to a Megyn Kelly clip. I'm legitimately uncomfortable, and it is very difficult to make me uncomfortable, and I am very uncomfortable right now. I don't like this. I regret listening to this shit. I want to know where they're going with this, though. Like, I don't understand what the point here is.
every time we start talking about Epstein, it makes your skin crawl, right? The whole thing is just disgusting.
Totally.
Anyway, well, what do you think? Does this stay?
Feels like they feel the same way as I just don't know. Like that's so like I don't think that there's a difference. I think that you are a fucking sick, evil piece of shit, and I don't want to say what I want to do to people that are guilty of that, but I think you all know where I'm going with this. But you are evil, and you need to be treated as evil regardless of whatever that difference is. End of discussion. There's no nuance. There's no context. There's no details. No. Not going to say what I want to say, but you all know what I want to say. So we will just leave it there. That was a weird conversation. Galo Kata says, Jeremy Cute. Thank you, Kata, with your disabled Black Jewish person in the profile picture. Thank you. I appreciate it. Woo! Yeah, that was an interesting one, to say the least. So all right, I some of this I didn't catch, but wow, President Trump has the Democrats totally cornered on Obamacare. I am calling today for insurance companies not to be paid, but for this a massive amount of money to be paid directly to the people so they can buy their own health care. Their stocks have gone up 1,000% because of our country stupidly pays them so much with this Obamacare scandal. I want the money to go directly to you, the people. We will pay a lot of money to the people and forget this Obamacare madness, political disaster to oppose this. Yeah, Trump is he's always playing like on a different level than these clowns. Interesting. I want to hear this clip. Joe Rogan apparently brought up Barack Hussein Obama right here. Joe Rogan drops a bombshell theory about why Barack Obama pushed the Fine People hoax to try and get Kamala elected. Interesting. All right. I'm game. I want to hear this.
Using that during Kamala Harris's campaign, I was like, that's great. You know what he said.
Yeah.
You must know.
They cut
So
it
you're
up.
But why would you sacrifice what's so valuable is like your stature and your integrity? Why would you sacrifice that for someone who just probably wasn't going to win anyway?
Right. I mean, I don't know if it's money or if it's some sort of oath or if it's intentional, whatever, but like that stuff's so dangerous. I really like that shortening of like what someone said, taking it out of context.
I think there's also the consequences of people going to trial for that Russiagate stuff. Because I think,
by the way, that's a badass hoodie that Joe Rogan is wearing. It's a badass Shelby hoodie.
That Russiagate collusion hoax that they perpetrated on mainstream media for years, and a lot of people are really uncomfortable with even saying it was a hoax. No, it was a hoax, ladies and gentlemen. It was a hoax, and a lot of people coordinated that hoax, and there was a lot of people involved. And I think they're super sketched out about Trump being president again and possibly digging into that stuff. And he's doing that now.
Yeah.
And you're finding real evidence that the people that you would think, the intelligence agencies, you think, what are they here for? They're here to make America safe and protect us from problems. But it seems like they also meddle.
Yeah.
And not just meddle, but like completely try to sabotage someone and paint them out in a way that's completely inaccurate, knowingly, willingly, with taxpayer dollars funding it all.
For the greater good, for their greater good.
Bro, I might say very fine people too. If I was doing that, I might say whatever. He's a fucking Nazi.
Let's not. Yeah,
he's Hitler.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's say whatever the fuck, keep him out of office.
Yeah, I don't think that's a groundbreaking theory. I feel like Joe Rogan transported back to like 2020 talking points. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I agree, but that's not like he's breaking any ground on that theory there. Like, yeah, welcome to what we've been talking about for a long time. I mean, I like Joe Rogan, so I'm not the I'm not the biggest fan. I don't watch his show per se, but all right, let's see here. What do we got here? Bill O'Reilly hammers the media over Epstein coverage. Okay.
What we see today is a bunch of innuendo. It's hearsay. There isn't any direct backup for any allegation because there aren't any allegations other than Trump may have been in a house where there are some girls. Right. Okay. So you have the lady in question, and I feel very bad for Miss Giuffre's family. He committed suicide. What a horrible thing. The whole thing is just awful. And that's right on Epstein. You have her saying under oath, Trump didn't do anything, and you have Maxwell. But here's the most important person you have, not under oath. Dershowitz. Dershowitz was Epstein's lawyer, and lawyer-client confidentiality ends with death. Dershowitz went on television today, said, I have all of the Epstein stuff, and there isn't anything. And I asked Epstein directly while I was representing him whether Donald Trump was involved in any kind of untoward activity. And Epstein said no. So now you have the three principal players in this case all saying the same thing. Yet the press is so irresponsible, so corrupt, so hateful. They will not even mention that. It's death by innuendo. That is what they are aiming for.
And they truly don't care because right here, we got this right here. Listen to this.
Hey, everybody. Tim Burchett just left the House floor.
This is today.
And I tried to do a UC, unanimous consent, of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, cut out all this nonsense. And, and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now, here they've had it for 4 years, and they obviously, if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it. And now they're all, let's get it out, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with what's doing what's right. I mean, it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for sending me here.
Listen, man, I mean, this is what Trump is talking about with it being a Democrat hoax. People get really upset when he says that because they're emotionally tied to a lot of the stuff that they've heard. But ultimately, that's just, that's his angle on it. And so now we've got this right here. Speaker Mike Johnson announced that the House will hold a vote next week on releasing all of Jeffrey Epstein's files. I don't think people care as much as the internet makes it seem like people care about this. I just don't. Again, I go back to Pam Bondi calling those influencers to the White House and making a mockery of this situation. That is my problem with the current administration's handling of it, was Pam Bondi, who's the Attorney General, who was chosen by Donald Trump. Trump and Vance were at the White House that day. They approved all of that bullshit. That is my issue with the administration, them elevating this nonsense and putting together a photo op that meant absolutely nothing. Them giving this idea that there's actually something. They made people believe, oh shit, they're actually doing it. They're actually doing it. And there was nothing. It was completely bullshit. That's my problem with the administration. It was embarrassing. It was extremely embarrassing. So, we'll see what happens, but I'm not going to hold my breath for anything. I'm just not going to do it. This right here, pretty cool moment right here. I'm just going to play the clip. If you know who this is, if you know that we recently lost the great Ozzy Osbourne, I will play this clip and I won't say anything.
I mean, should we play the voicemail?
Yeah.
Not saying who it's from. Everyone will know.
Hi, Sharon. It's Donald Trump, and I just wanted to wish you the best and the family. Great. Ozzy was amazing. He was an amazing guy. I met him a few times, and I want to tell you, he was unique in every way and talented. So I just wanted to wish you the best, and it's a tough thing. I know how close you were, and whatever I can do, take care of yourself. Say hello to the family. Thanks. Bye.
Love him or hate him, he didn't have to call and leave a voicemail.
Listen, when it comes to politics, we know nobody comes out a winner.
That was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool. I know it's very tough for them still dealing with the loss of Ozzy, the legend, but that's cool, man. Seeing Trump do that, that's awesome, man. So, R.I.P. Ozzy. Trump knows everyone. He definitely does. He definitely does. It was crazy. Where was this at? There was one more video that I wanted to show you guys if I can find it. Okay, so this was, I don't know if I want to go down this rabbit hole right now, man. This is a we will react to this one rather quickly. I'll do a deeper dive onto this topic on my next CobraCast, which will be tomorrow. But you know, we had the situation with Little Ben Shapiro, and Little Ben Shapiro made some comments on the Megyn Kelly show the other day, and it's got people kind of worked up. So right here, trying to find it. Don't have all of this pulled up. Ben Shapiro made some comments about Candace Owens and on the Megyn Kelly show. And now Megyn Kelly is calling Little Ben out, which is very interesting because is this it right here? Is this it? Let's see. So this was Ben Shapiro with Megyn Kelly.
You and I differ on our angle with regard to, for example, Candace Owens. I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Okay, and I say that again.
But what?
Because
like
it is
I didn't opine on whether it's evil or not, but my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business? I mean, you comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yes.
Okay. Like I said, I don't take in that content, which is an honest statement. I don't have time to watch.
No, I believe you. I believe you. But the point that I'm making is that when
what I understand
friendship should not, in our business, I think it's important. Listen,
friendship should not trump. We don't even know each other.
I understand, but even with Tucker, friendship should not trump our manifest requirement to speak out when people do and say things that are both detrimental to conservatism and morally wrong.
Okay, so I don't totally disagree, but I think the way of handling that, at least for me.
So those comments were made by Ben Shapiro. Okay. Megyn Kelly, the next day, says this.
He said that Candace has been claiming Erica Kirk was behind the murder of Charlie, which I had not heard. And I was taken aback because that seems like something I would have heard. It's so crazy. And I have since learned it is not true. Candace has not made that claim. And in fact, I've now seen several clips of Candace specifically defending Erica Kirk and saying she would never make a claim like that about Erica, and that she is open-minded to other people at Turning Point. That's obvious. She's been making that point. I had heard that point, but she's specifically been defending Erica Kirk, and she's been saying she does not think that of Erica. And in fact, if you read her comments, she's under pressure to make comments about Erica. And so far, what I've seen, she hasn't. So thank you for that question.
Now, let me qualify that I do not like Ben Shapiro. I've made that very clear. And I like Megyn Kelly. I think she has a great personality. There's a lot more to this than what Megyn Kelly is saying. And has Candace Owens directly said that Erica Kirk was, responsible by name? She has not said those words because Candace Owens is very fucking smart. I've said this 1,000 times. You can think whatever you want of Candace Owens. She is smart as hell. And she has very, very much insinuated that this has happened. So here's some clips right here.
Realizing that nothing in Charlie's life was real. It's just something that keeps me up at night. Just
Nothing in Charlie's life was real.
nothing in his life was real. Like everyone's just like, oh, let's just move on. It's so crazy to want to figure out what happened. Let's just start issuing gag orders. And the way to honor him is to give money. I don't know. There's just something really sick and demonic about the entire thing.
It's looking to me like the apparent plan was to assassinate Charlie Kirk, who had at long last faltered on the pro-Israel cause. Okay, his words, not mine. And then to stage a hostile takeover of his brand and of his legacy.
Turning Point USA, the conservative grassroots organization co-founded by Kirk, announcing his widow Erica will take over as the group's CEO.
There's two things happening here.
Yeah, so of course, Erica Kirk is now the CEO of Turning Point. She's running Turning Point. Candace Owens is claiming that Turning Point is directly behind, or she's insinuating that Turning Point is directly behind this. By the way, I'm not saying Candace is right or wrong. I'm just giving you the lay of the land here. Because unlike a lot of people online, I'm not going to pretend to know the answer. I tend to lean towards Candace being not correct, but I'm not going to just dismiss her theories at this point in time, because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just sitting back with the popcorn. Because this is like a fucking TV series, dude. This shit is crazy.
There's a widow, and then there is the chairman and the CEO, and she has assumed that role. Okay. So criticisms pertaining to anything at Turning Point USA that are being directed at Erica are fair. Yeah, I'm putting the fire here right at the feet of Turning Point because I am disgusted.
How can Megyn Kelly say that she's not doing this when, yeah, if you want to get into semantics, if you want to get into that, but like she's heavily implying. Heavily implying.
I am genuinely disgusted. I am looking around and wondering whether Charlie's entire life was the Truman Show. None of you guys are behaving in the way that you should be behaving. But I'm starting to think that the assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king.
Crazy, dude. This is amazing.
A new ruler who the king would have never approved of.
Like, okay. I'm trying to think of how to say what I'm about to say without saying something that I don't want to say. Okay, so from what I'm seeing, I think Charlie Kirk was a great man. I absolutely do. I think he was an awesome human being. I think he created an amazing movement with TPUSA. I think he was well ahead of his time. I think he probably would have become president of the United States in another 15 years. I absolutely believe all of that stuff. I also understand that people are, and this happens a lot when people pass, but Charlie Kirk passed away in one of the most horrific ways we've ever seen. The details surrounding it, the fact that it was on camera, the fact that he was where he was at. It's the worst thing I've ever experienced, like from a public, assassination. I've never seen anything like it. But this idea that like Charlie Kirk was the single voice that was controlling the Trump administration, and now that he's gone, the Trump administration has lost their way. And it's a little like overstepping no one was like, everybody loved Charlie Kirk, but no one was like this, like, no one was saying like Charlie Kirk was like this guy that was this crucial and important to, like, it's kind of like people are overhyping it a little bit. And it's like, okay, it's really like, it's kind of annoying, and that people are eating it up too. You know what I'm saying?
He left me a blueprint in all of his journals, but more so than that, I was his vault for literally everything. He shared everything with me, his vision, his dreams.
In the event of his untimely death, like, you know, he just, in the third notebook, he was like, oh, and if I accidentally get shot on campus, here's what you should do.
Somebody says this is a BBC edit. She never outright accused Erica. And I never said she did, but the implication is there. Now, if there are clips where she blatantly says every time she's accusing Turning Point, and she blatantly says, I don't believe Erica is part of this, by the way. I believe there are deeper evil, you know, movements within or whatever. But I don't think she's said that. Maybe she has, but I'm just going on this information. By the way, I don't necessarily like this account that clips this shit together. This Milk Bar TV guy. The reason I know him is because he used to put Andrew Tate clips together because he had a hate boner for Andrew Tate. And I'm not telling you to, you know, Andrew Tate's anything other, but like, it's when your entire existence is about like clipping someone together you don't like. So that's all I'm saying.
Erica, and then after you call Erica, come find this notebook. And in this notebook, you'll see that I am using adjectives like fantastic and heroic to describe Mikey McCoy.
My husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy.
Why are you doing that? Why do I feel like you're trying to program me? And if during this process of our imagination, common sense comes on and we're like, oh, but wait, Charlie, wasn't he like a boy genius? He's a pretty bright kid. Wouldn't he have maybe formalized that succession plan outside of like a diary? Maybe call one of his many lawyers, maybe formalize it in a will, because that's what you're supposed to do. If you are thinking about dying and you need to make a plan, you make a will. I'm sure he had a will, but no, he wanted to put it in these notebooks. And then the plan was to guilt us, I think, to try to.
I also hear this manipulative music in the background, and the manipulative music is meant to make you think she's crazy. And again, I'm not a fan of Candace, but I can objectively look at how this is being presented to me. You are presenting this trying to make me believe. Like, I hate when people do that bullshit. So it's like the Trump argument of like, if Trump is so bad, why do you have to add all of this shit to make everything so much worse that it's obvious that you're manipulating? Like, if Candace is so bad, why do you have to add creepy music? Why do you have to add jump cuts and edits? I personally don't think Candace is correct. But when you go out of your way to try to manipulate, it makes me question, why can't you just present without all of the hoopla around it?
To haunt us with the ghost of Charlie's notebooks that we're never going to be allowed to read, but we're supposed to accept that they most definitely read. Like, for sure. That's what it feels like. I am told that these people believe the official narrative. Lone shooter. No one else involved. Just a crazy guy with too many pronouns in his bio.
I mean, to be fair, like, I like an argument that Charlie Kirk made when he was debating an atheist, where he basically said that, and I'm going to butcher the conversation, but the atheist was basically like, I guess he believed in like the Big Bang Theory or whatever it was, like all of this evolution. And Charlie Kirk was like, you have a lot more faith than I do. Because, you know, Charlie believed in Jesus Christ. And he's like, your faith requires you to just think all of this crazy stuff happened, where I believe in Jesus. And so the reason I say that is that on one hand, you have a story of a mentally deranged leftist lunatic that, you know, assassinated Charlie Kirk. On the other hand, you have this deep conspiracy that only Candace Owens is able to figure out. And it has so many fucking moving parts and layers to it that you can't even keep up with it. Which one is more believable? That's the question that I would present to you.
To have seen the autopsy report, to have seen the different evidence portions that have been collected, I trust our team.
Hey, 1963 called and they want their narrative back. All that's missing from the story is a grassy knoll, right? Just need a grassy knoll. Anyway.
Simplest answer is the most likely. You know, I remember years ago growing up with, fixing when I'd have a problem with my car. My dad would always teach me, because when I would have a problem with my car, I would always like go to the most extreme, like, oh, the engine must be out or the transmission. And my dad was like, usually when you have a problem with your car, it's usually something very, very small that you would never think of. It's usually a very simple answer. So you start out with the simple things and work your way up to the major stuff. You know, maybe it's a fuse. It could be as simple as a fuse being out, but you're like, oh, I got to check the engine or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like, start out with the small, simple things. And usually those are the things that are wrong with it. Simple answer is usually the most likely.
He's back at headquarters. I am told it's business as usual. And it's kind of giving me like,
yes, exactly. Like needs gas. Like for the women out there, like women, if your car doesn't start, probably needs gas. Just crazy idea, women. Probably need to put gas in your vehicle. That's every time, almost every time a woman's like, my car won't start. Have you put gas in it? That's probably the answer.
like, I don't know, LBJ when he gets sworn in that famous picture. Unfortunately, sworn in. Unfortunately, of course, he's sad in this photo. Gosh, he's obviously not wanting to be the president of the United States. JFK was shot and killed. And now LBJ.
Okay, so anyway, we're at the close of this. So Candace Owens is Candace Owens. I have a bigger problem with the editing of this video more than I have a problem with what Candace is saying. Because you're always going to have you're going to have the opposite effect on me when you are building a narrative. Clearly this guy is building a narrative around, he doesn't like Candace Owens. That's fine. I don't either. So present what her words are without the cute tricks and the bullshit. But if you can't do that, that makes me think that you are hiding something she actually said. But between little Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, who has the #1 podcast in the world right now, the rise of Nick Fuentes, there's a lot of, dude, it is tough on social media right now to navigate the craziness. So, interesting times. Rona Zero says it is my actual profession to help people to get employment. Bless their heart for wanting to work, but many of them could redefine dumb. Thank you, Rona Zero. Sleazy says Candace ran the website that docs conservatives. I remember. That's the word. Dark Source Rising says, does she have any evidence or is it just her bullshit? It's a lot of speculation from what I understand, but I don't watch Candace enough, so I can't say for sure, but I haven't seen a lot of like hard evidence from her. Storm Shadow says, I never said Jeremy's gay, but Geeks and Gamers boss loves men. Slain Hope says Candace Owens is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Final Halo says, IIRC, one of Trump's first set of EO's executive orders was to raise the cost of H-1B visas to $100K per year, which makes corpos to think twice about hiring foreign people. It's a little misleading, though, like that $100K for H-1B visas. It's a little misleading. It really wasn't like as cut and dry as it was presented. It did happen, but there's a lot of specifics and details that aren't, it's not as just like it was presented. You know what I mean? So with that said, 3-hour CobraCast in the books. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go over to Rippison, you can get your $199 hoodie, your Unit 199 Cultural Task Force t-shirt and your IDOT hat. If we sell 500 of Unit 199 Cultural Task Force, I don't think we're going to sell that many. That's why I put it at that number. If we sell 500, I have to officially anoint Die Hard as a Christmas movie, which it is not. It is not. So I'm not worried about it. But either way, 500 of those shirts, it's a Christmas movie. It ain't happening. So we're good. But if you truly believe it is a Christmas movie, feel free to prove me wrong and go buy the IDOT Cultural Task Force t-shirt. And then I will have to officially, anoint it. So let's see here. Got to do that. Hang on. Trying to pull this up. Okay. But thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. And listen, I'm a man of my word, okay? I'm a man of my word. Zwani says buying my t-shirt now. Look at there. Meat Bun for the Win says the goal was 400. You said 500 would be nice. Okay, I'll drop it to 400. You called me out. Okay, you got me. You got me. I tried to grift another 100. 400's the number. Okay, 400. You got me. Okay. Fine, 400. Once the goal is reached, Jeremy's gonna say my fingers were crossed. None of you can be mad at me. The reason you can't be mad at me is because I'm a man of my word. Okay? Look at there. F it, I'll buy one. Look at there, man. Den of Cobra demands $500. Well, that tweeted to him. Okay, so I'm a man of my word. Okay? You guys asked for it. We will close out with one of the greatest videos in internet history. What is a turnaround? For your educational purposes. Have a good night, and we will talk to all of you later. By the way, now I don't know this for sure, but I hear this young lady watches CobraCast, and if you send super chats, she might see it. This is just a rumor. I can't confirm, but that's what I hear. I can't confirm, so don't take me, don't take that as like gospel, but she might see them. Have a good night, everybody. We'll talk to all of you later. Bye, everyone.
Well, whether you call them shutdowns, outages, or turnarounds, they'll all produce the same results. Turnarounds are scheduled events where an entire process unit of an industrial plant is taken off stream for a scheduled period of time to perform maintenance, inspections, and testing. Once the plant is off stream, the downtime presents an opportunity that can be used to perform debottlenecking, capital project improvements, revamps, and catalyst regeneration projects. Turnarounds allow for necessary maintenance and the upkeep of operating units. Turnarounds are needed to maintain safe and efficient operations. If you think of an oil refinery the way you think of your car, you'll realize there are many types of routine maintenance you need to perform on your car to keep it running efficiently. You should get your oil changed every 3,000 miles. You should get new tires every 50,000 miles or so, depending on the brand. Then there's your power steering fluid, your transmission, air filters, gaskets, and that's just routine maintenance. What if something malfunctions? Let's say you drive your car for work every day, and that's how you make your living. When the time comes to make these repairs and maintenance services, not only will you be spending money, but you will be losing money since you're not able to use your car for work. Wouldn't this make you want to carefully plan what repairs you would make so that you could spend only what you needed to spend and lose as little money as possible during that downtime? Now imagine that your car is making you millions of dollars every day. Well, maybe that's a bit of a stretch for one car, but it isn't a stretch when it comes to a refinery. When a refinery shuts down for repairs, maintenance, and compliance with regulations, there is no production, and that means the refinery is losing money at that time. What happens to the materials that are regularly delivered to the refinery? What happens to the other facilities that depend on the oil products that usually come from the refinery? How many workers are needed to perform the maintenance and repairs? Are there enough qualified workers available to carry out all the needed repairs? Turnarounds are very expensive, both in terms of production that is lost while the process unit is offline and also in terms of direct costs for the labor, tools, heavy equipment, and materials used to execute the turnaround. Turnarounds are the most significant portion of a plant's yearly maintenance budget and can affect the company's bottom line if they are mismanaged. Turnarounds have unique project management characteristics, which make them volatile and challenging. At EPCM PSI, we specialize in project management for turnarounds, as well as capital and routine maintenance. We are experts in Primavera, the industry standard software for scheduling. We schedule the work to be done through the use of our trademarked dynamic scheduling methodology called float-based prioritization. Our methodology has been proven as an effective way to manage turnarounds and any type of outage, on time and within budget. We also plan, estimate, and provide cost controls. EPCM PSI's motto is to provide solutions and valued service as opposed to simply providing resources. EPCM PSI helps your company plan for success.